Yeah, let's review. What's the deal, okay? Watching footage going out of control. Buckle up, we got an hour to go. So let's go, that's straight heat. Ain't no chillin' around here. Back to back, Nat chance, how we feelin' around here? Got my whole squad in the building around here. If my name ain't on it, then I really don't care. Come on. 3-point stance, we advance. Ball in my hands, I don't take no chance. Touchdown dance, that's my jam. No hot takes, this is nothing but rants.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to MBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. What's up? You really like that?
Let's shut up and grind some tape.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome into the Film Guy Network, presented by our friends over at Hard Rock Bet. We have an absolutely loaded show for you guys here on a Tuesday night, as we always do. We're about to bring the juice for the next 2 hours, all right? I mean, that is the standard around here, but I am making sure that we bring extra juice tonight. You all agree on that one, extra juice tonight?
No, we should always be bringing the maximum juice.
That's a great answer. I like that answer. Standard juice that we always bring around here.
Exactly.
The standard is the standard.
If you're not giving everything, we're not doing the right.
No getting up for game day. You got to get up every day.
Exactly.
I like that right there,
Coach
Christian.
Kirby.
Coach Kirby giving us a fine piece of word here to start the show. We got news to cover on the show. We got Big Ten win totals tonight on the show. We're going to tell you how your team, 4 teams, can win the Natty tonight. Only 4 because we've already dumped the clip. Hell, we gave entire sub-episode length segments during the offseason on some of these schools tonight, or this offseason. So we're going to hit some of those other national championship contenders tonight as well. I've also got some film studies to recap. We've been dumping the clip on film studies. You tired yet, Jay Will?
No, I mean, it's not work for me other than showing up.
It's showing up and hitting buttons.
Yeah.
Showing up and hitting buttons. I'm not tired of watching ball. I'll tell you that right now. I'm excited to get back into the actual nitty-gritty grind of film studies that we have during this. Not this player evaluation stuff. We're pretty good at that. I'm talking about the why. The reason everybody runs to this place, understanding the why. Why did my team win today? Why did my team lose today? Why is my team getting absolutely boxed on third down? We're going to bring you all those answers this year with the film, and I'm excited to do that. Make sure you're liking. Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you're telling a friend. Already 102K on the way to the moon. Glad to have you guys in here tonight for an absolutely loaded Tuesday show. Jonathan's second to last show of the week. He's going to be gone on Thursday. Mm-hmm. You know,
where you going, Joe?
Well, bro, he's got to get one more vacation in before we lock in for the season.
Well,
he came in here the other day. He was like, "Hey, man, you all right? I mean, we about to have a season going on. I guess you're gonna."
It's really not even that much of a vacation because I'm leaving Thursday morning to go down to the beach to see Morgan's grandparents and obviously my own family, my in-laws. But we leave Saturday morning, so I'm just getting a full day on Friday, basically.
Oh, that's what I thought you were saying you leave to go to the beach on Saturday morning. I'm like, well, why are you cutting out of work?
No.
Oh,
I leave Thursday morning.
So you're just cutting out of Thursday's film study recordings and Thursday's show?
Yes.
Okay. So one day off, unlike Kirby the other week, taking 2 days off.
Yeah, 2 days, dude.
Guys.
Jeez.
I'll let y'all know in about 4 years when I'm able to take a vacation. So
I hope you do.
Maybe one of these days.
I hope you do.
Maybe one of these days. We love work, though. Work is a vacation for me. I mean, I could be running a jackhammer. Instead, we're doing this. So
it's true.
That's good stuff. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button tonight. We do have news to talk about tonight, boys. Y'all want to crack this open?
Let's do it.
Texas had a jump scare last night, huh?
Ooh, big jump scare.
Yeah, Gooseby, their starting left tackle. Everyone says it's OT1. I'm still a little bit dubious. We'll have to find out about that as the season progresses. But Gooseby goes down with a non-contact injury in practice yesterday, and it gets reported late last night after the show. Going to have a complete, complex MRI to figure out what the hell this is. everybody, oh my God, panicking. Was the first one already? Texas already with the injury bug. Turns out bone bruise. Bone bruise on the knee. He gonna be all right.
How do you get a bone bruise in a non-contact way?
That's a great question. I don't know the answer to that. I always thought bone bruises have to be created by an actual contact.
Yeah.
Right? Like take a helmet off the knee, wear those knee pads, kids. Did you wear your knee pads?
I did wear knee pads, yeah.
I wore knee pads my entire career until college when I had to wear knee braces, and the idea of a knee pad was just convoluting the area down there.
I wore knee pads to mitigate getting like turf burn. Dude, turf burn on your knees is terrible.
I saw a football player wearing turf tape on the front of his knees, like all the way down to his shin.
Oh, he must not have any hair on his legs.
Pulling that off's got to be a nightmare. And by the way, it was for team photos too.
Dang.
So like, no, bro,
Committed
absolute brutal removal of that turf tape coming his way. But yeah, I thought that was like a new trend I hope I don't see. But no, Texas had an MRI, said it's a bone bruise, which means he'll be fine. I would imagine he'll be ready to go by the Ohio State football game.
That's why I wanted to talk about, because I just did some very minimal research on this. And what I mean by that is I asked AI, like, hey, what is a bone bruise? How long of recovery? And from the information that I gathered, it's very tentative to whatever your body does. Like, I think the summary that I got was 2 to 8 weeks. And getting a bone bruise on your knee is one of the worst places to get a bone bruise as far as a healing process. And it also factors in, like, how much do you weigh? Like, what's your physique like? Bigger man, it's on the knee. I wouldn't be surprised if that's not me saying I'm doubting that he's going to play against Ohio State, but it's just one of those things like you really truly don't know until you get into the middle of the process.
Also, there's this term in football called pain threshold.
Yes.
Which is another way to ask, how tough are you? You know, not to do that. We don't question toughness around this channel, but every injury is different from a timetable standpoint due to your ability to withstand amount of pain. It doesn't sound like this is an injury where if we rush you back a little bit too soon, we're at risk for further damaging it. It just sounds like, hey, we'll get you back when we get you back. But, you know, if you thought this is a good opportunity for us to talk about the Texas hype machine, because if you thought I hyped up this Texas roster this offseason, you have no idea.
Everyone was doing it.
I know. Everyone was doing it, but nobody's doing it better than the Texas beat reporting base right about now.
Oh, boy, they are.
If you didn't know, they have 17 All-Americans on this roster.
17?
17.
I mean, the number keeps growing. I mean, it's probably 19 by end of this statement and end of this sentence. I mean, hell, why not throw Jonah Williams in the mix, too? Yeah, but I saw an article released today, 9 All-Americans projected by Cody Carpentier, a friend of the show. He probably is listening to the show right now. Friend of the show, does great work. But 9, I thought was a lot.
Oh, it is a lot.
Probably would break a record for All-Americans.
It wouldn't break a record. I also did some research on this because I just wanted to know, like, now for this new modern era of college football, it would be on the precipice of breaking records. The most ever was by Notre Dame in the 1960s. The second most ever was by Ohio State, also in the 1960s. I think it was Notre Dame had 15, Ohio State had 13, and then there's been several programs to have 10. Okay. So it'd be on the precipice of it'd be one of the greatest teams ever by that metric.
So I quote tweeted this today, and I was like, and I'm the crazy one for demanding that Steve Sarkisian, if they stay healthy, at least play for a national title. That was my tweet today. And my man Cody hops up in the mentions and goes, crazy thing is, we didn't mention Melvin Siani, Ryan Wingo, Hollywood Brown, and Raleek Brown and Hollywood Smothers, and leaving out Grayson Littlejohn, who apparently is the second best defensive player on their roster right now. And, of course, the All-American returner in Ryan Niblett. So that's 9 plus 6 is 15. That would shatter the record. 15, Jonathan, 15 All-Americans at Texas.
It would be very impressive. Very, very impressive.
Incredible if that team does not win a national championship. Like, I don't understand why they're setting themselves up for this. Your coach has done this for years now, and it's blown up in his face every time. Why are you setting yourself up for such laughable expectations? Like, Texas has continuously, like, the entire we're back thing blew up in their face after the Sugar Bowl in 2018. They haven't learned from that to come out swinging with the hype train yet. Like, guys, just you're going to be a great team.
We saw another B reporter tweet out that they had 17 million defensive linemen ready to play SEC football too.
$17 million.
Well, yeah, I think the number was actually 14 defensive linemen, and they have 12 defensive backs that they can play that are all great. Yeah, so even if they do get hurt, no reasons to cause for concern about defensive depth. They're plenty good over there.
Hey, good for them, man.
All the while, our friends at Hard Rock Bet have their season win totals at 9.5, and they didn't receive a single vote for number 1 overall in the AP poll. What do you think that's about?
Yeah, maybe the powers that be and those who tend to know a bit more. Now, I'm not saying the AP poll is, the end-all, be-all, but people who make lines on these types of things tend to have a pretty good pulse or thumb on the pulse of this.
So I did just look this up, and not saying that this is the measuring stick for how great a team is going to be, but I just was intrigued to see how many All-Americans that the 2021 Georgia team had, because they had a bunch of studs on defense. They had some really good offensive players as well. Would you like to guess how many first and second team All-Americans they had by the AP?
7.
No. You have a guess, Kirby?
Am I low or high? Well, he's got a guess. So
let's see. They had 4.
They had 4. Jordan Davis and Kobe Dean were first team. Brock Bowers and Devontae Wyatt were second team.
Who in the hell was the first team tight end?
I think that was the year Michael Mayer won.
Yeah. Some Notre Dame love.
Yeah.
He was pretty good.
He was good.
He's a pretty good football player.
Both Raiders now. Just like to point that out.
Unnecessary. Don't need it.
2 Mackey Award winners.
So, yeah, you didn't. I was trying to tee you up for Sark doubt, but I think that's why. Like, the roster is immaculate. And I'm not making fun of Texas beat reporters because, Lord knows, I was thumping the drum all offseason saying, my God, look at this roster. Holy crap. What a job by Brandon Harris, the general manager over there. Oh, my God, there's not a hole on this roster. It is flawless. Yet, I think the reason they're 5th and the reason their win totals at Hard Rock Bet are 9.5 is because Steve Sarkisian and coaching. Coaching as a whole is the only question out there as to whether or not you're going to be what you are. And Texas fans will say, well, the schedule is tough. Don't get me wrong. But those other teams have to play you as well. Like, you are the most talented team in the conference. And I don't even know who I would make a close second.
For
the SEC in terms of pure raw talent on paper right now today.
There's no close second. You could make some arguments for who would be second. Georgia's and Alabama's and LSU even gets thrown in that mix, but it's definitely Texas at number 1. There's no doubt about that.
But going back to your point about the doubt and Sark, I can remember hearing multiple people down at SEC Media Days relaying that exact message of, I think Texas's roster is phenomenal, and I think it's one of the best in the country, but I don't necessarily believe in Sarkisian, and that's one of the reasons why I don't think they're going to win the conference and why I'm going to pick Georgia to win the conference and why I don't think they'll win a national title. Like, for some people, it really does boil down to just that.
We're going to see, they made plenty of additions on the offensive line, great football players, and Melvin Siani and the left guard that transferred over from Western Kentucky was an All-American last year in the mid-majors, and he sounds like he is having a great camp right about now. They get Cole Hudson back from the NFL. So there's plenty of talent there, but you watched it with me, Jonathan. It wasn't like they were rolling out a bunch of slappies last year on the offensive line. They've always been talented. It's been coaching. It's been coaching over and over again down there on that offensive line. So that is a major question right there. Also, breaking news, boys.
Ooh,
you ready?
Let's hear it.
Really?
Breaking news.
I like breaking news.
Billy Edwards named the starter for North Carolina.
Is that Jackson County High School's quarterback?
Who's that?
It's Billy Edwards. Billy Edwards, known Wisconsin transfer. Billy Edwards.
And this is the 2026.
Transfer.
Yeah, 2026. Going to start against TCU over there across the pond.
North Carolina had a QB battle?
So they say.
That is certainly breaking news for me because I had no
That's
idea.
the news of that story.
Yep.
There was a QB battle going on in North Carolina. We wish them well.
I'm okay if the Bill Belichick regime dies out. I'm okay with that.
I would feel sorry for UNC fans.
They always got, well, not really.
No, they did.
Yeah, I was about to say that. They always got baseball.
They had a good season this year.
Yeah, runner up.
Yeah,
not bad.
They're pretty consistently good there.
Not bad. Hey, let's take a quick moment and a quick break right now to thank our friends over at Hard Rock Bet. Ladies and gentlemen, today's show is brought to you by our new presenting sponsor over at Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook. Rivalries, trash talk, and bragging rights are all a part of the game of college football that we all love so much. But there's one thing college football fans can all agree on. Hard Rock Bet is easy, safe, and trusted with thousands of 5-star reviews. You can back your favorite football team all season long from the couch, hanging out at the tailgate, or even inside the stadium, especially for our friends down there in the state of Florida. Hard Rock Bet knows college football in Florida. They're Florida's only legal betting app on college football. But you don't have to live in the state of Florida to join the party Hard Rock Bet's got going on. They're also live in Arizona, Ohio, New Jersey, Indiana, Tennessee, Virginia, Illinois, Colorado, and Michigan, with more states on the way. So if you don't have the Hard Rock Bet app yet, head over to hardrock.bet/filmguy. That's hardrock.bet/filmguy. Get the party started on Hard Rock Bet today. Must be 21 or older. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER today. Please gamble responsibly. That short break gave me a chance to read the chat. Not a lot of Jeff Gordon fans in the chat tonight, huh?
I thought Jeff Gordon was pretty well liked in the NASCAR world. Now, I don't know much about NASCAR.
I thought so too.
I heard he was not, but I don't know anything.
I think it was a hot and cold issue.
I just saw memes from it.
With Jeff Gordon. All right. If your team wants to win a national title, they must. Now, this is a series we rolled out during the offseason, and we went through a whole bunch of football teams, and we gave it like a full 10, 12-minute segment on all these teams. Hell, I think we went 26 minutes on some of these teams. Today, a little bit more concise. Today, a little bit more concise on these. We're going to be quick hitters, starting with the Ohio State Buckeyes. Two tied favorites over on Hard Rock Bet at plus 600 odds, that being Ohio State and Notre Dame. We're going to talk about both tonight, okay? Ohio State, if they're going to win a national title, what must they do? First and foremost, I think it starts, obviously, like most of these teams, at the quarterback position, right? And it sounds like Julian Sand is doing what he needs to do physically to take the step everyone wants him to take from a horsepower standpoint, right? Plenty of accurate, no doubt about that. Can put it wherever he wants. 77% completion percentage last year. Lord knows he's plenty accurate. I think the only question about him is, hey, can you play beyond the structure of the offense? If we need you to go make a play, can you ultimately do that? Can you drive the ball into some tighter windows that we presume that you're ultimately going to get a little bit this year? Because the wide receiver core is not what it had been last year with, two top 5 picks in Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. So it sounds like he's put the weight on to be a lot more physical and have some of this horsepower. That was my first kind of question about them. The other one would be this offensive line. Now, return a lot of starters, and I know they experienced an injury at right guard midway through, I think, the Michigan game, which means they had a first-time starter at right guard against Indiana. Not normally a good recipe to be starting your first game in a Big Ten championship game. But I didn't feel like they protected him enough in those big games last year. Fun fact, they allowed 10 sacks in the Indiana and Miami games combined.
Gross.
Okay? Here's what's even crazier. They allowed 10 sacks combined in their other, 12 regular season football games.
Yeah, wow. I mean, the schedule would suggest that, certainly.
Yeah, the schedule last year was a little bit,
And how many of those came against Texas? That'd be my other question.
Well, Ohio State fans will let you know that they put Colin Simmons in a box, Jonathan. Mm-hmm. They put Colin Simmons in a box, and he's a bad player, and they zipped him 2 times. So that's what Ohio State fans will probably already hop in the chat and let you know. So don't do that, all right?
Okay.
Because they are very quick to correct on that one. But no, the late season offensive line play was just not good enough. We talk about scar tissue on this network all the time and how it leads to bad habits being created at the quarterback position. I was on Spencer Holbrook's podcast today with Letterman Rowe up there at Ohio State. I'm sure that will be released at some point. And I explained it this way. Those weren't even scars. They didn't even have time to scab over.
Yeah.
It was so new of an issue for them. Those were open wounds in the middle of those football games, creating brand new bad habits for Julian Sand. Because prior to that, the offensive line was really good.
Mm-hmm. I think for me, this season for Ohio State at least, and I'm not, me saying this is not me expecting them to take some massive step forward or step backward defensively. I'm just assuming that the defense might not be as good as it was last year, which for me means that your offense needs to be that much better to make up the difference, because you had a good enough defense last year to win you a national title, in my opinion. You had enough talent on that roster to go and win it all. The offense just wasn't able to pick up on their end. I think this year the offense might be having to do a little bit more for you this season in order for you to go win a national title.
So here's the last note I have here is that I think defensively they're going to be fine. Now, are they going to be historically great like they were last year? Probably not. But I still think they will be a championship caliber defense at Ohio State this year. I mean, just you got a boiling stack coming up in win totals that will probably blow the minds of every fan that isn't an Ohio State fan listening tonight. But when I look at that roster defensively, I'm like, all right, they're great at defensive line. They're going to be really good at linebacker. They're going to be good at corner. The safeties are like, they're fine.
No, they're fine.
They're fine. Now, are they going to allow 10 points per game? Probably not. They might allow 14 points per game.
Right.
So they're going to be plenty good over there. Kirby, I'll leave some meat on the bone for you, but I do have one more question about this football team.
Yeah, and I think that you guys hit on a lot of the nuances of what you have to do on the field play. I think it boils down to as simple as this. Ohio State is one of these very few teams in college football that we feel like will almost always have a roster that can find a way to a championship, whether it's a defensive-led or offensive-led or a little bit of both. The thing that Ohio State has to do if they want to win a national championship is play their best football in the month of January. We saw that in 2024. They were a 10-2 team, kind of middling through the regular season, lost to Michigan embarrassingly, didn't look great, turned it on and won the 12-team playoff.
Yep.
We saw this last year where they were a juggernaut, ranked one after week one and did not lose that position until the conference championship, went through everyone like a hot knife through butter, and then things tapered off when conference championships came. If Ohio State wants to win a national championship, they have to play their best football in January. And I know that's cliche and that stands for everyone, but it stands more so in particular for them because they are one of the few teams that will always have a championship roster, in my opinion.
Who's the Robin to Jeremiah Smith's Batman?
That's a great question.
I think everybody assumes it'll be Chris Henry.
I think everybody assumes it's going to be Brandon Ennis, and then we're going to have to figure out what Chris Henry can do as a Z. By the way, some of the footage we've seen of Chris Henry's workouts are absolutely ridiculous. Some of the stuff they got him doing out there with that trainer in California, who, by the way, I don't know his name. That guy does elite work from a body control standpoint. Mm-hmm. Some of these new found like training methods are out of this world, from a quick twitch muscle fibers and like ankle stability and jumping on one leg and using this weighted water thing that like shifts their weight entirely, like core strength. Just insane stuff they're doing nowadays with these young men. From a workout standpoint, I think he's going to be really good, borderline great. It's a lot to expect somebody to do that year one. Mm-hmm, and if they don't have somebody that scares defenses outside of Jeremiah Smith, that dude's going to get doubled. Mm-hmm. And now he's so great that it doesn't really matter. Like you can double him. He'll still go for 5 for 85, even if you double him. But if we don't, that's what was so good about Carnell Tate. And even the year before that, they had Emeka Ibuka. Mm-hmm. That slot presence particularly is the most important thing, because if you have a great slot, or at least a serviceable slot player that can threaten defenses, we can't roll safety coverage over the super freak that is Jeremiah Smith. So that's my biggest question right now, plus 600 odds over on Hard Rock Bet. All right, next up, the Fighting Irish. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish, again, tied for the favorite over there on Hard Rock Bet at plus 600. For me, this is a term that we heard a lot during the 2021-2022 Georgia runs. Again, not to do that, but that was a great regular season football team that had to, quote unquote, manufacture some adversity. Do y'all remember hearing about that? Mm-hmm. We got manufacture some adversity, basically insinuating that our schedule is not going to be tough enough to prepare us for what we got going on during the playoff run. I told you guys before the show, Notre Dame is going to be tested 2 times. Let's call it 1.5. BYU and Miami over a 13-week span.
Yep.
And depending on whether or not they win that Miami game, they might have to play 4 games in 6 weeks against 4 of the 12 best teams in college football. That is a total different like war to prepare for. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if and I'm not saying you need to be calloused like this, because there are advantages to having an easy schedule too. Like, we're going to stay healthy. We're going to get our starters out in the fourth quarter. Like, there's plenty of advantages to not having a tough schedule. but there are also advantages to going into the battle that is the college football playoff as a calloused, experienced, battle-tested group and being ready to go to war. I mean, those are 4 tough games in a row in a college football playoff for anybody, unless you draw Boise State and then turn around and have to play, whatever Penn State's draw was a couple years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's just important to kind of know what your team looks like in certain situations. Like, how do we play in a close game in the fourth quarter when guys are tired? Are we still as disciplined as we were in the first quarter? Are we still executing at a high rate? Especially like for this program too, and I'm sure that they will get answers to this maybe, but it just depends on how that BYU and Miami game goes. But like, are we able to run the ball efficiently in the fourth quarter to put a game away? Like, if we have the ball 5 minutes left, we're up by 3 points, we got to go on a death drive right now. Can we sustain a drive for 4 minutes to put the game away by running the football? Those are important questions to know, and you don't know those. You don't get an answer to that until you get put in that situation. Conditioning,
right?
Sure.
You hit on that. I'm surprised I didn't get to that. Like, are we ready to play 4-quarter games when it comes to, even that battle on November 7th? Like, I think BYU is going to take them to the fourth quarter. I think Notre Dame is going to win that game by 10 to 14 points.
Sure.
But I wonder what that battle looks like November 7th. We will be in attendance for that. At least I will. Curious. I'm excited to go to South Bend, so that'll be fun.
That'd be one I want to go to.
But yeah, just like, what do you look like from a conditioning standpoint in the fourth quarter? Also, I think there's a lot of projection right now going on at running back.
Yep.
Like, is this guy going to be, is it Anais Williams? Isn't that his name?
I believe so,
The new back that they're going to start this year. Sounds like he's twitchy. Sounds like he can do things out of the backfield. But from a workhorse standpoint, because they're not going to have this ability to split 32 carries over 2 great first-round football players, they're probably going to have to give him a little bit more workload than they ever really established with Jeremiah Love and what's my man's name?
Jadarian
Price. So that'll be interesting to see as well. And who's your X receiver? I still don't know if they have a true answer to that. Yeah. There's another lax bro that's out there balling out.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I saw my man Singer up there in the Notre Dame beat tweeting about that. Like, they got another lax bro that's going to come out and maybe earn some tick this year at wide receiver.
They seem to keep finding them, so good on them. I think if Notre Dame wants to win a national championship, they're going to have to get top 5 play from CJ Carr this year. Mm-hmm. Like, everyone's kind of coming into 2025 with the expectation that he is going to be one of the best, and rightfully so, but he has to deliver on that because, like we just said, there is no Jeremiah Love. There is no Jadarian Price. We don't really know what the wide receiver core looks like. We think it's going to be good. We know the defense is going to be really good at Notre Dame. That secondary is probably one of the best in college football. I think the final piece for Notre Dame to put this all together and go on one of these incredible runs like we talked about, that's going to be a bunch of hard teams at the end of the schedule, is playing like a top 5 quarterback with CJ Carr.
I think this next team, and it's already on the bottom ticker, so you can see that all odds subject to change. I like this plus 1,100 from Miami.
Yeah, it's good odds.
Yeah.
The more and more I watch Darian Mensah tape, the more and more I love it. If you can keep that guy healthy, I don't know if they're a title winner without him, but if you can keep that guy healthy, the idea that offense, we're going to have to find out about the offensive line, but even saying that out loud sounds so goofy when you know who Alex Mirabal is. Like, the audacity to be like, well, I don't know if Miami's going to be good enough on the offensive line. Oh, they're going to be good. They got elite football players down there, even though they might not be household names at this very moment. But Mirabal and Cristobal, for that matter, are going to coach that unit up to be elite. So I don't question that as much as I think outsiders do, because when you hear that, 3 starters going to the NFL, the center, both tackles, you're like, ooh, that's a lot. That's a lot to replace. Not at that place. That's a pick and stick good offensive line down there. I do think they need to be more explosive in the passing game down the stretch.
Agreed completely.
I didn't think they could threaten teams. They had to defense and run the ball their way to where they got.
Yes.
And I think they have what they need to have to get more explosive in the passing game, though. Darian Mensah is a playmaker. Cooper Barkate coming down, and Malachi Tony in year 2. I think it's a thing that a lot of people forget. Like, we didn't even see the best version of Malachi Tony unless we have some. I don't envision a Ryan Williams-esque year 2 drop off here from this guy.
Think so?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be focused on anything other than ball. Hell, his body's changed already. Malachi's has. He's gotten bigger.
I hope we don't see that just for our sake. Like, he was so much fun to watch last year. I'd hate for him to regress.
Yeah. What are your questions on Miami?
I mean, I've kind of had the same take throughout the entire offseason, and my question kind of continues to get answered little by little. And it's kind of been, in my opinion, I think the offense has to be almost as good as the defense was last year, in my opinion.
Yes.
I think that'd be the biggest difference maker for Miami, and they certainly have the potential to do that. Just like you, Brooks, I love the quarterback. I love the wide receiver room. I love Mark Fletcher. They got all the weapons and the tools in the world to be successful, be very successful offensively this year. And the defense isn't necessarily a worry because they have talent there. They don't have Ruben Bain, but that's okay. I don't think they're going to struggle as much to get after the quarterback. I think they're going to be slightly worse, obviously, but I don't think it's going to be a concern of theirs. So I think they're going to be plenty good on both sides of the ball to win a Natty.
I don't even think they're going to – it's going to sound insane. I think they're going to be just as good and daunting defensive line-wise as they were a year ago. But here's why. I'm projecting growth from Justin Scott, former 5-star. I thought Ahmad Moten would have been – a top 3-round pick. Damon Wilson, we all know and believe, was going to be a top 50 pick last year, is coming back to college football. Marquise Lightfoot's a former 5-star that put on great tape last year. And every time I saw Armando Blunt, number 18, every time I saw him on the field at like 6'3", 265, 270 pounds, was just a twitched up freak that made offensive guards go, what am I going to do with this today? So, like, I think defensive line-wise, they're going to be elite. My biggest question is about linebacker. Like, are they – like, Torrey comes back for his 19th year of college football, played 4 years at Rutgers, is going to play 2 years at Miami somehow, which is awesome for him. I think it's probably the last iteration of these things going on. I would imagine the NCAA starts to crack down on these 5-to-play-5 rules if we get any type of resolution with the Save College Sports Act, which I don't think we're going to get. My question would be this Chase Smith cat, been in this program for a long time. Where's number 9's linebacker? I haven't seen a ton from him because last year, I forget number 31's name, but he played for 4 years as a starter, it felt like, at linebacker for them. And then Torrey played almost every down. And the guy that actually rotated in from my memory was Popo Aguirre last year, played a lot for them. So we'll see what they look like at linebacker. But loved their 2 young corners last year, especially down the stretch. We were watching that Ohio State tape the other day, and they got these 2 corners, 24 and 29, out there playing bump and run with Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate, just leaving them on islands, not worried about it at all, rolling safeties down in the box, getting after it. So we'll see about that. Got another transfer in at the nickel spot. They seemed to hit on that last year with Keontae Scott. We'll see if they can replicate that type of hit rate in there at the nickel spot. Any other thoughts on Miami?
Yeah, I mean, the thing I would say Miami has to do if they want to win a title this year is get way more output from their offense. I think that the defense, and this isn't an indictment on them, that defense carried them to where they were in the playoff, especially last year. They did not have necessarily a super impressive offense.
That defense and Mark Fletcher.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I mean, they did not have a very impressive offense last year. I think they scored 30 points once in the college football playoff, and a lot of that was because Mark Fletcher had a absolute broken tackle or a broken play. So we expect the defense is going to get a little worse in Miami. They've lost a bunch of people. We just talked about that. They need to get more offensive output. I don't think you're going to 10-3 away to a college football playoff win. I don't think you're going to, 24-14 against Ohio State. You have to score more points this year.
Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button. Let's get to our last national championship contending team we need to talk about tonight, which is the Ole Miss Rebels, plus 2,500 juice over there on our friends at Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook. The questions are obvious, right?
There's a lot of them, yeah.
New staff, new offensive identity, you would imagine, new play caller. How much can they retain that offensive play style from last year to keep Trinidad Chambliss comfortable? That would be my biggest question.
I think it's got to be focused on the defensive side of the ball. I think it's got to be because I don't think that they're going to be as elite offensively, which I think is fair to assume. I know that they were great throughout the playoff run with Trinidad and Kewan, but you don't bring back all your wide receivers from last year, and also Charlie Weiss Jr. was also still helping out with the offense at the time. You take him away. We'll see what things look like this season, but I think really Pete Golding's got to really emphasize that defense getting better this year and playing a little more complimentary, I would say, because I think Trinidad and Kewan are 2 of the best offensive players in college football, and I think they're good enough for them to be good enough offensively to win a title. For me, it's just how much of a jump defensively do you make this year? And
most of their additions, at least that I like, and I know this is me, Most of their additions that I like are on the defensive side of the football. I have massive questions. We love Deuce Alexander on this channel. Love him. But I don't think it's wild to say Jonte Cooks and Darryl Gill are not exactly Caden Lee and Dejon Stribling. Is that fair?
No,
I don't think Ole Miss fans will kill me for saying that. I think they have taken a step down at the wide receiver position because most of their high-quality additions came on the defensive side of the football, which we expect that to be the case when a new defensive coordinator or when a defensive coordinator takes the head coaching job. Like, that guy's making decisions now. He's going to lean towards his side of the ball, as did the other coach for 6 years down there at Ole Miss.
Yeah, I think if Ole Miss wants to win it now, they have to do. They'll have to do more than anyone else on this list. They have to find new identities on the offensive side of the football, championship identities at that, while maintaining a fairly consistent defensive output. I don't think their defense was the strong suit of them last year, obviously not with the Lane Kiffin roster. It might have to be this year. Now, you have one of the best quarterbacks in the sport. You have one of the best running backs in the sport. There's a lot going for them, but I think they're going to have to find a championship identity on offense this year.
By the way, if you're upset that Miami fans are here in the chat tonight, it's because we just dropped a dynamite Darian Mensah film study, and now they're here to talk about Darian Mensah. So that's what happens. When we drop film studies, that fan base shows up. That's the whole plan of action from this place. Show them the ball, bring them to the live shows. And it worked. We got them. All right, let's go into our next segment, which is Big Ten win totals.
Hold up. Whoopsie, I misclicked. Here we go.
All right.
Da, 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 da.
We got it?
There.
That's what's up. All right, so if you were here with us last night, we're good?
Yes.
If you were here with us last night, we did this with the SEC. All right, we have we're going to go through all the Big Ten win totals, and you have to pick 3 overs, you have to pick 3 unders, and you have to pick 3 do not touches. All right, those are programs and lines that we are not going to touch at all because they're too risky. Let's start with the overs conversation, boys. I got a dynamite stat for you. You ready?
Let's hear it.
All right, the Minnesota Gophers. All right, the Minnesota Gophers. What are you looking at me
Why
like
did
that
you
for?
say that with like a
Have
Boston
you never met?
accent?
Have you never met someone from Minnesota?
I have, but that sounded more Boston.
You?
It is the closest thing we have to
You
Canadian
sounded like
accents.
you sounded
is-
like Goodwill.
you sound like- yeah.
You sound like Will
I'm
Hunting.
not good. I'm not good with accents. Okay, all right.
You can't be like, have
The
you ever
Gophers.
seen someone from Minnesota? They go, I'm not good with accents.
Have you ever watched How I Met Your Mother?
I have.
Anyways, the Minnesota Gophers have never
Why'd you double down?
5.5 games on their win total right now. Fun fact: PJ Fleck has not gone 5-7 at Minnesota since his first year there.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I have them as one of my overs as well. I don't think you can find 7 losses on this schedule. That's if Mississippi State gets them. Obviously, that's a tough one. They're going to beat Eastern Illinois. They're going to beat Akron. They're going to beat Purdue. They have a really good opportunity to beat 6 teams on this schedule. I would be very surprised if they are worse than that. I have them as an over for that.
Washington 7.5. What do you think about this? Washington 7.5. Year 3 Jed Fish. I think they're somewhere in that mix for 5th or 6th best team in the Big Ten. That normally locks you in for 8 wins. And the schedule is tough, but I think it's doable to get to 8 wins on that slate in year 3 with Jed Fish.
Yeah,
You fishing?
No, I don't have this. I don't have Washington or anyone here. They're not a do not touch explicitly for me, but I think that's a fine choice. I didn't put it on mine. I put Michigan State over 3.5. Like 4 wins, guys. That's all we have to get from Michigan State. They're going to get 2 guaranteed. I think that Pat Fitzgerald is good enough coach to snipe 2 teams there, and they don't play a bunch of killers. Like, it's not a daunting Big Ten schedule.
Kirby, Pat Fitzgerald won 52% of his games at Northwestern.
Yeah, we can find 2 or 3 upsets.
I think so too.
That was a bad roster, though, that Michigan State had. Not that I'm an expert on what Michigan State's roster looks like at this very moment, but just pointing out that there is a lot of work to do, in my opinion, to improve. That's not a wide margin of improvement by any means, but I just felt like I don't know if I have enough confidence. But with that said, I don't have extreme confidence in this one either, but I just felt, considering what they did last year, considering the changes that they made, I feel somewhat confident to say that this will be an over with Michigan at 8.5. They went 9-3 last year. There was a lot going on with that Michigan football program.
Needless to say.
There was a lot of bad things going around that college football program, and they had a head coach that his top priority probably was not football games on Saturday, to say the least. So with them going 9-3 last year, with Kyle Whittingham being the head coach, you get year 2 of Bryce Underwood. I think I'm okay with saying that they're going to be 9-3 this year, even though I think it's a very small margin because 8-4 is very believable as well. So I don't have the utmost confidence, but just wanted to point out, like, they went 9-3 last year. I think they can go 9-3 this year as well.
It's not an absolute crazy one. I don't know if
dump this Ohio State clip.
Well, I was going to let Jay Will go again.
Oh, okay, yeah. Go ahead, Jay Will. You were busy.
I just gave Michigan.
Give another one because we've already given 2.
Give us another one.
Oh, okay. Ohio State at 9.5.
Yes.
Just gonna leave it at that.
Yes,
I have to ask Ryan Day to go 10-2, make the playoff. I'm perfectly fine with that. That's a lock for me.
I said on the show,
tee him up, why don't you, brother?
I wanted to.
Yeah,
Thank
go
you.
ahead.
And that's why. Hey, I know what I'm doing here. I said yesterday on the show that Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs have earned the right to basically be, prove me wrong, overs until they don't hit. The Ohio State Buckeyes have absolutely done this, not just Ryan Day. Would any of you like to guess the last time Ohio State lost 3 games or more in a season? And that is including playoff losses, bowl game losses, all of the above. The last time Ohio State had 3 losses in a single season.
I'm going to guess 2006.
I was going to say like 2009. I don't know.
The answer is 2008. There are freshmen at college right now that have never in their lives seen Ohio State lose more than 2 games in a season, and that is including a 12-team playoff.
Yeah, buddy. If I were an Ohio State fan, you couldn't tell me nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
So I am hammering the over for 9.5 wins. They will find a way to get to 10-2. They always have. They always will.
Yeah.
Is there another sports equivalent for that type of run? Who has been that long-standingly dominant?
It's hard to find that in professional sports, I feel like.
It was the Patriots until Brady and the Belichick era fell apart. I mean, that was a solid 20 years. So,
I mean, my Lord. I thought my stat of they haven't had a 500 season since the World War II was kind of cool. That stat right there is bonkers. They haven't lost 3 games since 2008?
Yeah.
And wait a minute. Was that the year after Tressel got caught for tattooing?
I'm pretty sure it was.
So they're out there with an interim football coach and whatever playing quarterback because Terrell Pryor was gone. Wow, that is nuts. I still think the schedule's a little bit too tough for me to sit there and go guaranteed 10.
It's definitely one of the tougher schedules they've had, but until you can prove me wrong, like they've been playing 9-game conference schedules. It's not like it's an SEC thing where it's like, you might have one more loss on your schedule. Not like this is Ohio State's been doing this. They've had difficult regular season games out of conference before. 10-2 is the floor for them.
All right, so we all agreed on Michigan State?
I didn't have Michigan State. I'm okay with it, though.
You're okay with it? We got to make a play here.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
All right, so we're going to...
Michigan State and Minnesota, I believe.
All right.
And Ohio
which
State.
one do you like better? You can be the all-decider here. It's easier to get to 4 wins than it is to 6.
It is, but I know what to expect from PJ Fleck. It's not that Pat Fitzgerald is an unproven commodity in college football, but considering again like the hills that he might have to climb at Michigan State, whereas PJ Fleck has laid the groundwork already at Minnesota. I feel confident in that one. I feel more confident in that one.
All right, so we'll take Minnesota as the lock there, and we'll get that at the end. All right, let's go to unders.
I had one more over. Oregon 10.5.
Go ahead.
The schedule alone, Oregon 10.5.
Yeah, I think that's putting a lot of trust in Dan Lanning, and I'm fine with that. They've done it before. They've gone undefeated. They've gone 11-1. They've earned that right. They've got some difficult games, but I wouldn't be. They play Ohio State.
It's at USC's the second toughest game on their slate.
I would not be surprised.
If they got to split those games, I think they can definitely split those games.
For sure.
All right, let's take some unders here.
This was tough.
Yeah. Let's start with a layup. This is gonna sound crazy. Have you seen this Purdue schedule?
I have not. Can't say that I've looked
There's
at
a lot
it.
of losses on the Purdue schedule.
All right, let me pull this up. Give me 1 second.
How many losses there are, I don't know. I would assume that it's probably more than 7.
We got to find 9. Okay, we got to find 9 losses because the line.
Let's just find 3 wins.
The line over at Hard Rock Bay is 3.5. Okay, I'm going to give you Indiana State. Is that fair?
That's
I'm
absolutely
going to give you Indiana State. I ain't just going to automatically give you Wake Forest. I think it's going to be a tough football game.
Yeah,
let's give it to them.
Those are two really
Let's
bad
give it to them. Let's say they start 2-0. I got them losing 10 straight football games. At UCLA, Notre Dame, at Illinois, Minnesota, Washington, at Penn State, Maryland's going to get them, at Iowa, Wisconsin, and at Indiana to close the season.
Yeah, that's a 3-9 schedule. That's tough. Sorry, Purdue.
If they go 2-10, that will be 5 combined wins in the last 3 years.
Oh,
wow. I just want to know
something.
Like,
Drew Brees, help them out.
like Purdue, you already play a 9-conference game schedule. Why are we playing Wake Forest and Notre Dame?
Well, you know why they're playing Notre Dame. My Irish fans going to love this one. They got to get that check, Jonathan. They got to get those people to come into that stadium. They got to get that money. They got to get that money in. That's what it is. You play Notre Dame, you get paid. Them's the rules.
I thought you were saying that Notre Dame is paying Notre Dame to play this game, and I was like, hold on. That can't be true.
No. You play Notre Dame, you're rich. That's the rule. That's why everybody should play Notre Dame. That's why Texas should keep that game. That's why Indiana should keep that game. Because when you play Notre Dame, Shane Gillis shows up and you get paid. Them's the rules.
Okay. One of my unders, UCLA 6.5. I feel like 7 wins for Bob Chesney in his first year.
Fading Bobby's dangerous.
I'm not fading Bobby. I'm fading this just like the leap it would require, in my opinion, to go in this conference, win 7 games in your first year at a program like UCLA, which no one was hiding it. They sure as heck weren't hiding it. Wasn't very good until Bob Chesney got here. I think that they will be a better program. I think they'll be a more organized program. I think there's even potential for Nico to be better this year at quarterback. I just think 7 wins might be a tall task for Bob Chesney.
I'm fading a different Los Angeles County football team this year, and I think you are too, Christian Kirby.
I am.
8.5 for USC. I got them 9-3.
Yeah,
already. And I'll find a fourth loss.
Yeah, I mean, you're telling me Lincoln.
I'll find one.
You're telling me Lincoln Riley is going to win all the games he's probably supposed to win. I'm not buying that. I will take 8-4. 8-4 is very, very doable with that schedule for USC. It's not an easy schedule. I bought the under on USC.
The real question is, does 8-4 get him fired?
Probably. Yeah.
8-4 makes you what? Maybe the 23rd ranked team at the end of the season?
Yeah, something
maybe.
Like that. In that conference with those 3 losses from top 5 football teams, because they got Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon. Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
I think
in a must-have year, that's tough.
I think it's less to do with the fact that he's 8-4, and it'd be more to do with how bad were those losses. Like, were we not even competitive with 2 of those teams? Then yeah, he's probably gone.
Agreed. So do we all like fading Lincoln?
Sure.
I think we're all going to like this one. Penn State 9.5.
Way too much.
Way too much.
And I know that everyone.
And here's why. Jonathan, are they going to beat USC? It's a home game. Going to be a whiteout. Are they going to beat USC?
Maybe.
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
Are they beating Michigan?
Maybe.
I don't think so. I don't think they're going to beat Washington. There's 3 losses right there. Boom. Covered.
Yeah, it's nice and easy to do in the preseason. That schedule for me, I would just stay away from it.
It's very. I completely understand the idea of staying away from it. I didn't even look at it as they're going to lose to this team, and this team. It's done. I look at it as we know absolutely nothing about that roster except it's Iowa State in the Big Ten. And I don't,
7-5 Iowa State, by the way. I'll remind everyone. A 7-5 Big 12 Iowa State.
And that's why I'm looking at it okay, they're going to lose 3 games along the way here. There's no way this team pops a 10-2. I don't even have to pick the losses. I am not buying the over for Penn State. Give me the under.
I'll buy into it because, I mean, it'd be miraculous if Matt Campbell went 10-2 in his first year in the Big Ten.
Yes, it would. 9-3, the under still hits. So I'm completely
9-3 would be very successful, but at the same time. Another under that I had was Wisconsin 6.5. I mean, it's like 7-5 for Wisconsin at this point. For Luke Fickell would be like, hey, solid season,
amazing.
Luke.
Turnaround.
Good
season.
job. Turnaround season. 6-6 would be like, hey, you got him bowl eligible, Coach Luke. For me, 6-6, I'm good with that. And if that's the under, that's what it requires for me to hit on this under, I'm going to take Wisconsin 6.5.
I feel bad doing this. I feel disrespectful. Rutgers 4.5 is a bit too much for me. I can't find 5 wins on this schedule that I'm confident in. They should beat UMass. Let's give them Boston College. They'll beat Howard. That's 3. After that, it's Indiana, Maryland. They might. Northwestern, probably not. Wisconsin, maybe. Michigan, no. Nebraska, maybe. Penn State, no. Michigan State. I don't think there's 5 wins for the Rutgers here. I'm sorry. I'm taking the under. Sorry, Shiano.
All right. So I got Purdue 3.5 under, USC 8.5 under, Penn State 9.5 under. What did we all settle on? I think fading Purdue is just easy money.
Purdue's the easiest one of that bunch, in my opinion.
Yeah, Purdue.
All right, so that's our lock. We got Minnesota over 5.5 right now, Purdue under 3.5 right now. All right, I'm not touching Ohio State. I'm at 9.5. I'm not touching Oregon or Indiana at 10.5.
Indiana's one of my don't touch.
I'm not touching Indiana either.
And I know injuries play a role of everybody, but there's not a lot of room for error right there. Literally, like with either of those, with Indiana and Oregon, we can't lose 2 games. Like, what's to be a playoff team and my over bet just crashes? Like, I'm good on that. And the schedule at Ohio State is too do not touchable for me right about now.
Yeah, and I get Kurt Cignetti has had Indiana at 11-1 and 12-0 the last 2 regular seasons. He's getting into this territory of, you always buy the overs with him. I'm not quite confident enough yet that this is an 11-1 roster. I think what they did the last 2 seasons is incredible, and if they do it again this year and pop another 11-1 or 12-0, we start after having real conversations about them being up in this. But I'm not confident enough to make it I'm not touching it. Sorry.
All right, let me show you how easy these plays are to find over on Hard Rock Bet right about now. I love this scroll at the top and all these different categories they have. All you have to do is go over to regular season wins, and then they have them by conference. All right, we're going to select the Big Ten, and we locked in Minnesota as the under. All right. By the way, that has plus 135 juice right about now. And then we are going to, we went over with Minnesota.
We did.
And then we locked in the under with Purdue at 3.5. Let's go down to the Boilermakers right there. That under is minus 140 juice. So the family's in on that one right there. So, all right, head over to Hard Rock Bet, or hardrock.bet/film guide today and join those and support those who are supporting us this season. All right, we've been dumping the clip on film studies, boys.
Yes.
Absolutely dumping the clip. It is August 18th, which means at this point in the season, or in the lead up to the 2026 season, we have had 18 film studies drop, all on quarterbacks, okay? And as of late, we've done Josh Hoover, Byron Brown, Sam Levitt, Marcel Reed, Anthony Calandria, Jared Sagabatule. Did I get that right?
No.
Help me out here.
Saga, Polu, Telly.
JKS, baby. JKS.
JKS.
My football brain keeps writing a JSK.
I can't help you there.
I'm just a downright idiot, is what it comes to.
Maybe if
names.
you say it with a Minnesotan/Boston accent, you can get it right.
Oh, you already did. I'm coaching you up 6 seconds after you already coached yourself up. That's on me. And Darian Mensah, we watched today. Do y'all want a little recaps on these guys?
Let's hear the recap.
If you haven't watched these, you need to head over and do it, especially if you're either playing these guys or some of these might end up in the portal. I'm not predicting anything, but they might be very rich men come January, and your team might be in the mix to end up landing them. Let's start with Josh Hoover. I think what we found out through that film study, Jonathan, is that I don't think he has the biggest arm in the world, but we've always loved him for his general pocket willingness, especially remember watching the 2024 tape, all the, oh my God, you about died getting rid of that football from the pocket and just throwing dots down the field. He's really accurate, and I think he's more comfortable with pure progression reads than even Mendoza was. Like we pointed that out in the NFL draft, or the lead up to the NFL draft. It's like, hey, this guy is been pretty RPO based at his stops at Cal and now at Indiana. By the way, don't know if you've seen the intel coming out from On3 and Pete Nakos, but there's a lot of, we nailed it again. This guy is Mendoza coming out of the Indiana sources. So, thoughts on the Hoover study?
We got Mendoza again. That caught my eye more than anything. But, my thoughts really haven't changed much since the first time that we watched him last season heading into last year as opposed to this year. Now, for whatever reason, I did remember him having a bigger arm heading into last season than I did this last time we watched him. But that's not a bad thing for him because he's great everywhere else. Like, he's going to be good enough for Indiana this year. I wouldn't put quarterback as a concern for them because of that.
No, I think now Surratt, good football player. Don't get me wrong. I think Nick Marsh might be a little better. Is that fair?
It's probably fair to say.
I think the NFL agrees there. And Charlie Becker going into year 3 as a real big time player. I think he's going to take a leap as well. So they're going to be great at wide receiver, and they were good at wide receiver last year. Now the Mari Cooper loss hurts a little bit, but
Definitely.
I think Nick Marsh is that good. I think it's going to be terrifying to cover them outside the numbers this year. All right, we studied Byron Brown as well. That study turned into, oh my God, this screen bag that they got really quickly. I think that was the biggest takeaway there. I think he's obviously a little bit limited as a thrower. There's a lot of accuracy inconsistencies that we don't love. Everybody's already made a big deal about the arm slot and all that good stuff. But here's the deal. That dude threw for 3,400 yards last year, throwing the ball at near or behind the line of scrimmage and throwing the ball 50 yards downfield. And he's pretty good at both of those. And that's all this system really makes you do. We talked about it last night in the local hour, how much we talked about that for this system, how they are the last, I think, true version of the wide choice offense. Everybody else has tweaked it quite a bit during their time in the SEC. So we'll see. You're still going to have to tackle him. That's the main thing. You're going to have to tackle this dude. So there's no, see, we got some new fans, new listeners. Amari Cooper. It's Omar Cooper. Yeah, see, football brain. Me dummy. Me no ball. Me not no names. This is going to happen to you or to me if you listen to this show too much.
I think that the more interesting part that I would pay attention about Auburn heading into this season is everybody wants to focus on the offense, and you hear wide choice offense, you think, oh, bunches of points. Offenses that average 40 points per game, 38 points per game, whatever it may be. That is true. They do tend to put up a lot of numbers, but in the games where they played Alabama really close, in the game where they beat Florida last season, they didn't do it by scoring 40 points. They didn't do it by scoring 35 points. It was, we're going to run the rock down your throat with Byron Brown, and we're going to kill the clock, and we're going to make this game as tight as possible and take you down to the wire, and we're going to win it because we're going to be great in the critical moments of this football game because we can run the ball. That's what would scare me about facing them this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that's kind of underrated about these wide choice offenses. Everyone's worried about getting hit over the head with explosive to the passing game and, getting diced up in the screen game. These offenses tend to run the football really well because you don't have enough bodies dedicated to the box. It makes sense, especially with a quarterback as tough as Byron Brown, that Auburn's going to be able to run the football this year.
We watched Sam Levitt. Would love your take on this, Jonathan, just whether or not I hit this on the head when we watched this. A playmaking footballer. Game doesn't match the persona. Blonde, pretty boy that has some shit to him. Mm-hmm. That's what I think of when I get done watching that tape. Like, you see the photos of him without his helmet on, and you're like, look at this, look at this pretty boy from Oregon. Look at this guy. And then you watch him play football, and you're like, oh, football player.
That sounds like Aaron Murray.
Yeah, a little bit.
He is Sunshine from Remember the Titans. Everybody,
just with a crew cut.
Yeah, but everybody sees Sunshine. He's like, oh, look at this pretty Cali boy. He can't play football with us. And then he ends up having some shit to him, and they're like, what the heck? I don't like this guy too much now. He's kind of got some edge to him. Like, that is kind of how.
Wait a minute. He hit Gary Bertier with a ball from 65 yards away?
Yeah.
Watch out for him.
Things like that.
Yeah, LSU people are raving. We talked about that last night. Hey, human resources, I need y'all to grab somebody. We got a Cam Newton comp in the chat. Go ahead, pull him for a test. He's going to melt the cup. No, not allowed to do it. We talked about this last night. You are not allowed to mention the words Cam Newton with any human being that plays football, ever. You're just not allowed to. HR, get him. All right? Got to get him. So Sam Levitt, I think I was more and more impressed by that the more and more I watched it because you know how I am. I'm a meathead. Mm-hmm. I like football players first, quarterbacks second. I want your identity to be in football, not your identity to be in pretty boy quarterback. And it sounds like he a dog, or at least plays. The film says he's a dog. Marcel Reed, you know what my favorite responses to any film study this year have been, this offseason have been?
I scrolled through them. I'm going to say it's the Texas A&M ones because I was seeing what you were saying.
It is, because we hit that on the head. absolutely hit that on the head. Will you pull the name of the new OC they promoted over there? It sounds like in his introductory press conference, he laid out exactly what we pointed out in our film study.
Holman Wiggins.
Okay. Now, look, I don't have to be right all the time to like really hammer home points, but I like the fact that we get done watching that tape against Texas. Sorry for making you sit through that, A&M fans. I know that was tough. But I like getting done with that and being like, man, why didn't they roll this kid? Why didn't they move him? Why didn't they use his actual skill sets? Why are they trying to make him be Drew Brees when in reality he's a great athlete that we need to accentuate the athleticism and not accentuate this pure progressive passing stuff that they're doing with him? Like, why don't they move this guy a little bit more and actually use his skill sets? Turns out Holman Wiggins is talking about that stuff in his opening press conference. Like, we're going to move this guy a lot more. We're going to use his athleticism. We're going to get heavy back into the RPO game. I'm like, that guy was watching what we were watching. That guy was paying attention to the deficiencies of the football player and is now going to accentuate his actual plus traits. That's coaching. That's good stuff. The more and more I hear about Wiggins being promoted to OC, we talked about in-house promotions, not loving them, right? Mm-hmm. Open that thing up. Get it out here. Let everybody know that that job is open. Interview as many people as you can. It sounds like he interviewed some dudes and ended up rolling with the guy that was in-house because he didn't like some of the things that he heard from other OCs that he interviewed out there at A&M. So sounds like all good things out there offensively for those guys. Got three more for you. Anthony Calandria, the Nebraska starting quarterback. Love his athleticism and gamesmanship. That play of him on the sideline, that's just crafty, brother. Mm-hmm. That's like Jalen Brunson type flopping. You know what I mean? Let's get in that paint area. Let's draw a little contact. Let's get that free.
That
15.
is not gamesmanship, Brooks.
That's gamesmanship.
No, it is not.
I didn't say old buddy from Oklahoma City. That's Floppy McGee. Oh, what's his name?
Yeah, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, I don't watch a lot of round ball, but that guy is rage bait enticing. This guy, gamesmanship.
Okay. I'm good with the Calandria gamesmanship, but no.
I also think it's a better fit for a team that I still think has holes up front.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely.
I still don't think they're going to have tremendously clean pockets.
Much more creative in the backfield is Calandria and athletic compared to Dylan Raiola and what he offered them. And that's
JKS. Mm-hmm. It's a damn shame. It's a damn shame that not enough people are going to watch that film study.
Man.
Because it was some of my favorite tapes.
He's fun.
And that dude, every ball he throws, we was sitting here going, oh my God, what is that? Every time.
And I just want to paint a picture for anybody that hasn't watched that film study yet. There is multiple moments in this film study where JKS is throwing back shoulder fades to a wide receiver that is 5'7". His name is Jacob DeJesus, and he is an animal. He's not there anymore. That alone is worth going back and watching that film.
Oh, dude, he's going to give the Raiders hell. He's a Chief now. He's probably going to make that roster, too. He's a dog. Wait till you find out. You going to find out. Don't you worry. You going to find out. You might not watch the JSK or JKS film study, but you're going to find out about DeJesus. Don't you worry.
No. No, thank you.
We're pro Chiefs podcast around here, right?
See, you're just trying to troll to get a reaction, and I'm not going to give you that satisfaction.
Well done. Darian Mensah. Love it more and more every time I turn it on. Also love that. How about balling out in a true pro-style under center offense at Tulane and then leading the ACC in passing in an air raid offense at Duke and now going to Miami where there's probably going to be a good bit of blend of both. And I don't think Miami has like one style of offense. I don't think Shannon Dawson has one style of offense. I think they're going to be a little bit of a morphed version between air raid and traditional pro-style concepts. And guess what? He's checked boxes in both. Mm-hmm. He's done really, really well in both spots. So shout out to that film study. You guys need to go watch that. I think they got a massive upgrade from the version of Carson Beck that they had last year.
Yep.
We're big Carson Beck guys around here. We think he's a good football player, tremendous quarterback.
Yeah.
They got an 85% version of Carson last year.
I wouldn't say I'm a big Carson Beck guy, but I'm certainly higher on him than most.
You're a big Carson Beck film guy.
Yeah.
The film's what you like.
Yeah.
You never once watched the Georgia game and thought
I think he's a misunderstood player at times.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Correct.
I would also say that the Carson Beck Miami got was about what you would come to expect from Carson Beck, which, was that worth what they paid? I would say no, but they did have a national championship appearance with them. So, he threw for 3,800 yards last year.
I think it's really.
Yeah.
I think it's undoubted, though, or at least in my opinion, I think it's hard to argue that his arm looked the same as it did in a Georgia uniform, or that it even does now. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I think you got a lesser than version physically of what he ultimately is because he blew his elbow out in December of 2024. All right, let's head over to the local hour. Got some love to show to a radio station around here that showed some love to us first. Let's head to the local.
Welcome into Talk the Dog, the show where we find a bone to pick and a take to give. These are not hot takes. These is dog takes. Can I talk that dog?
What's up? You really like that?
Let's shut up and grind some tape.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here on the Film Guy Network, presented by our friends over at Hard Rock's Bet Sportsbook. And I want to take the time out right now at the top of the local hour as we have more and more people filtering in here. You got it on your board, man. The Chuck and Chernoff show came to an end today after 26 years on Atlanta Sports Talk Radio.
Wow, that's my entire life.
Yeah. They were my entire, you had a father that listened to a lot of Sports Talk FM radio. I had a stepdad. My dad was a Sirius XM guy the moment it came out.
Yeah.
But my stepdad, Mike McKinney, would listen to nothing but FM radio. And the moment 680 went to commercial, and only the moment 680 went to commercial, they'd flip over to that other channel in Atlanta that we're not going to talk about right now because we're showing love to 680. And by the way, that other channel doesn't show love to us.
Yeah.
That other channel doesn't have us on for some reason. I think that's probably because we are in cahoots with 680.
Yeah.
Maybe Chuck and Chernoff just put a
that's ours.
That's my guy. You're not allowed to talk to him. That's us. We go have him on every Friday at 3:30. But Chuck and Chernoff, specifically Brian Hoyt, the former producer over there, they were the first radio station in this area to be like, hey, grab that Brooks Austin guy, get him on here. That guy knows ball. Let's talk to him about Georgia football because I love everything that dude's putting down. And I think the first time I was on 680, I might have had I don't even know if this place existed.
Not like this.
No, definitely not like this, but just an absolute run for those guys. And I am forever grateful for them taking a stab at me and kind of recognizing my talent. I'll always remember those types of people. They were some of the first. Josh Pate was one of the first to kind of reach out and be like, hey, you got something going here. It's gonna be good. So I appreciate those people because they always stood 10 toes down. It was funny today to be on their radio show and have them basically hey, are you still gonna come on Fridays at 3:30 with John and with Chernoff and Kincaid? And I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And I could hear Chuck going, and can you come on Wednesdays on my show? And I was like, you know what? This is very, very fitting. Listening to you guys both book me, considering I'm a child of divorce. It put me right back at home where it was like, hey, you going to spend some time with us midweek, and then you're going to spend the weekend with Daddy. That's the way it felt like to me. And I tremendously appreciate those guys out there. It is our local hour. We have a loaded local hour for you guys tonight. We're going to do a little window talk.
Yep.
We're going to do a little window talk. We're also going to do teams that started at number 3 in the AP poll. Excited to have that conversation. You did some research. This is basically the Kirby hour. I mean, Kirby put more research and more development into these notes than anybody else. Would you agree?
Yeah.
I mean, the dude was digging on the local hour tonight. So we're going to highlight the boy Kirby tonight a good bit. Players who have to make a name. And which Gunnar Stockton narrative are you buying? And I have more Florida Gator intel than I've ever received. Ooh. So we're going to preview Florida tonight, too.
Ah, yes.
We're going to preview Florida tonight. Make sure you're liking. Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you're telling a friend. If you haven't hit that thumbs up button yet, please take some time out right now to do it. All right, we've already uploaded a bunch today, so there were some people that probably didn't get notifications that we were live tonight. Jonathan said it best right before we went live. If you don't know what time we're going live at this point, I mean, we kind of been consistent with this for 3
We are
years.
very consistent with time and days. I will say that.
Yes, we are. We grind it out. We are here 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, Monday through Thursday, all season long, and then Monday, Tuesday, Thursday during the off season, which doesn't seem to exist for us around here. But yes, we have a bunch for you guys tonight. But please make sure you are hitting that thumbs up button. We got some news.
We do have some news.
We got some news, and boy, was it a layup for the Ops today. Boy, was it a layup for the Ops today.
Yeah.
Georgia announces a premium sponsorship on-field logos for Progressive car insurance.
Look, I get the irony. I truly do. But here's the deal, guys. People are going to make jokes no matter what. Like, even if Georgia is not having players arrested for driving-related issues, people still make the jokes. Like, the jokes are going to be made no matter what. At least this time, you're getting paid. Your program is getting paid for those jokes to be
That's
made.
a good spin on it.
So, like, at the very least, like, there's a silver lining. People are going to make them anyways, but now your program is being funded for those jokes to be made.
Yeah, and I mean, there is certainly, and I do think the irony is low-hanging fruit, and I saw a lot of the memes today, and some of them were like, dang, they cooked us. But I get it. I think this is the new era of college football. I got to say, it's not the sponsorship I was expecting Georgia to have on-field logos with, but you know what? Bring it on.
Who were you expecting? Because they already have a Delta logo.
Yeah, I was expecting, like, Coke maybe.
See, like, here's my take on Coke.
I think Coke's in bed with so many other colleges that they can't just make one.
But here's the other thing about Coke.
Georgia also switched to Powerade.
Well, Powerade
That
is
is
a
Coke.
Coca-Cola
That's what I'm
product.
saying. That's what made me think like Coke would be.
So here's my take on Coca-Cola for sponsorships. They don't need their logo on the field. They don't need to put a big billboard in Sanford Stadium. They don't need to do that. Their drinks are offered at the stadium. That is the advertisement for them. On every cup you get at Georgia games, it has Coke's logo on it. They don't need a big logo on the field to remind everybody, like, oh yeah, Coca-Cola. They don't do it for Hawks. They don't do it for the Braves. They don't do it for the Falcons. Like, they sell the drinks. That's it.
You think there's any players that are denied coverage?
Maybe. I'm not
I
gonna
have no
name,
idea. I don't
maybe.
speculate on that at
That
all.
premium probably through the roof, though.
The tinfoil hat theory on this is: did Progressive do this knowing that it would get absorbed amounts of coverage because of what Georgia has going on here?
I don't know.
I mean, what does a super speeder do to your car insurance monthly payment?
I'm not sure.
Probably
clue.
sends it
Hope
through
I
the
never
roof,
find
I would
out.
imagine.
I hope I do not find out.
Yeah, I wouldn't know either. But oof, I don't think my truck goes super speeder limit without breaking down or rattling off the road. So I think we're good there. I need an alignment, probably. Probably an alignment.
Probably should do that.
Yeah, probably should do that at some point. Yeah, I just thought that was an interesting announcement today. Progressive car insurance.
Definitely one that the ops were laughing at. So
Sure.
have fun, ops.
Yeah, a layup to the ops. We love those. All right, we got some window conversation.
That's not the only news that happened.
Oh, no. What
Yeah.
other news happened?
We had a returning player
That's
get
right,
back on
Cole
the
Spear.
roster. Cole Spear is back with the
Spear.
Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia taking advantage of the new rule that is now available where if you didn't take advantage of a fifth year, you are now eligible for that. Cole Spear falls under that rule, and he is back with the wide receiver room. So
I think this is actually like, it's obviously why from Cole Spear is fantastic. Love Cole Spear. He's probably not going to have an effect on the wide receiver room.
That's what I wanted to say without being demeaning to Cole Spear.
But from a special team standpoint, you just got an experienced gunner. You just got a guy that is going to be a culture boost for your team. Everyone loves Cole Spear. He spoke in front of the team in the SEC championship last year before he blocked the punt that kind of jump-started you winning that game. So I think it's a fantastic move for Georgia.
Ooh.
What's that?
Cole Spear, third down back.
Might have to be.
you know,
Put him in a 22. See what happens.
No, leave him in 86. Leave
He's
him.
83. But yeah,
Yeah,
leave
yeah.
him in 83. 83 is not spoken for, is it?
I have no clue. I don't think so. I don't think anyone's wearing 83.
Do you think he has to buy it back?
buy it back? I think Cole Spear is well respected enough in that program that if he wanted 83 back, they'd be like, hey, freshman, you got to give that one up right now.
I also don't know if
Sorry.
anyone's like, nah, man, you got to pay me for this 83.
This 83 Cole, brother. Harry Douglas, my idol.
Take it, bro. Just take it.
The comedic relief of this 83 Cole, bro. Harry D, Atlanta legend.
Yeah, dude.
Very underrated
Came
wide
to my
receiver. for the
elementary
Falcons.
Shout out to the Louisville Cardinals, too. Didn't he have a brother?
I think so, yes.
Look, I'm looking at rosters to see if they do have an 83 right about now. Trey Shields doesn't wear 83, does he?
Ooh, he might be one that
Maybe.
does. For some reason, he was ringing. No, he's not in that number either.
Let's see here.
But either way, like guys like that, you can give them the temp
Well,
jerseys.
he falls under the perfect category for the
Brody
situation.
Tolbert, you're up out your jersey, Bubba.
Yeah.
You're up out your
As I
jersey,
said,
Brody.
I think
Tolbert.
whoever's wearing that jersey number, Cole Spear going to get that one if he wants it. But Cole Spear is also the type of guy that's like, if I got to wear 48, I'm going to go out there and rock 48 for the love of the game. Like, that guy does not care for sure. But he falls under the perfect category for this, what I was getting at when this rule was made, where nobody in that program has an issue with Cole Spear coming back. Not a single person. In fact, even if Cole Spear were to take some playing time in the wide receiver room, I don't think people are going to have an issue with that. Like, no one's going to look funky at Cole Spear like, really, this guy, he's the one that's taking some of my reps? Like, yeah, that's a guy that's earned his stripes with this program for a long time. You mentioned it, Kirby. He's well-loved. The coaches love him. He's a do-it-all type of guy. He'll do whatever he needs to do to make the team better. He's the perfect fit for this type of situation, in my opinion. It's a win-win.
And also on top of that, you're not going to get a lot of flack from oppositions. Like, this isn't a starter. This isn't someone who's going to drastically up your championship odds. It's a great piece, and you're glad to have him. But I don't think Florida fans read this today and were like, this is unacceptable. College football is broken. Everything. We need legislation to fix this stuff. I think it's one of those. It's a positive move for everyone, and it doesn't give you any negative press. Like, this isn't a type where you're going and getting a former 5-star guy that would have been a first-round pick. That just, so I think it's fine.
Everybody wins situation
Absolutely.
here. All right, let's talk windows.
Yeah, so I was thinking about this today, just, about the upcoming season and all the hopes that Georgia has for winning a national title. And I've kind of come into a theory that your championship windows come in threes. After Georgia made it to the national championship in 2017, they had kind of a 3-year window and opportunity from 18 to 20 to have a national championship opportunity in that. 21 to 23 was an opportunity, and now we're in from 24 to 26. I think we might be, and I'm not saying that you're never going to be able to compete from a national title standpoint again, but I think it might be the end of this era or window this year. Gunnar Stockton's leaving. You're probably going to lose Nate Frazier and Chauncey Bowens this year just because of the NFL draft. We know the lifespan of running backs. They tend to not stick around in college as long. You're losing basically the majority of your defensive backfield you have to anticipate. Some of the best players on your defense will probably not be there. You'd have to assume that a guy like Gabe Harris, Chris Cole, Quintavious Johnson, you can't expect those players to be around for a long time. There's a lot of young pieces here that are going to help you in the future, but the way I see it is that we are in the year 3 of the kind of post-Natty run window of, from 21 to 23. That was Georgia's window to win those Natties. They won 2 out of 3. They probably could have won 3 out of 3 if we had a 12-team playoff. That's a conversation for another day. We entered that other window of post-Natties, 24 to 26, where Carson Beck takes over, and then we have that transition from Gunnar Stockton. I think this is probably the last year of this certain window before you have to reopen another one. That's not to say Georgia won't be able to compete for a national title in 2027. I think we've all agreed 10-2, 9-3 is the floor. They should always be a playoff team. But I do think, or at least believe, that this is the last year of this type of window, of this identity of the team, or this era of Georgia football for them to win a national title.
A little pause here. Justin England, my man, you need to join the Discord, brother. You need to. You're asking a bunch of questions that I know for a fact I can answer over there, patreon.com/BrooksSauce. I'm not trying to get you to go elsewhere to answer your questions, but you're asking a bunch of stuff that we don't like to talk about in a public forum, and I can give you my true 100% unfiltered thoughts over there and give you your kind of one-on-one that you want right about now. That goes to everybody. If you got off-the-wall Georgia football questions, you can absolutely pelt me with those things over there on patreon.com/BrooksSauce. And that's what that's for. That is for immediate, constant access to me. All you got to do is tag me, ask me a question. I'll get you a source-filled answer over there. Now, let me address this window conversation. First and foremost, you're the youngest team in Power 4 football.
Certainly.
So, and Kirby Smart's your head football coach.
Certainly.
So those are 2 points. I will say this. I don't want to look up 2 years from now when Chris Cole's one of the best linebackers in college or pro football, and Ellis Robinson is one of the best corners in pro football, and KJ Bolden is on his way to maybe a Pro Bowl, and you look back and you go, oh my God, that defense was great, and we didn't score enough points to maximize that defense. I don't want that to happen, and I do think this defense on paper and what I expected to be is going to be downright elite. That doesn't mean that they're not going to have one bad game in a 6-week stretch in a playoff game like they did last year, where a quarterback's just unconscious and you can't put up 46 points in a game where they score 45. I don't want that to happen. Okay, so your defensive window could potentially be closing from that standpoint of those guys being great. I also don't want to expect this offensive line to be this good and this deep forever, because odds are it probably won't be. Like this offensive line is going to be freaking good this year. And I don't want to look back and go, oh, well, I mean, they were good, but everybody got to tee off on their run game because nobody really threatened them on the outside. I don't want those things to happen. All right, but let me ask you this about this window conversation, Kirby, specifically you, because you brought it up. Let's say hypothetically, these are all hypotheticals, okay? Let's say hypothetically they grab JKS out of the transfer portal, or they grab Kamario Taylor out of the transfer portal. We're going to sit right here all offseason from February on into August talking about them being national championship contenders yet again next year.
Certainly.
And
absolutely.
that was the point I was going to bring up is I think that the window is more so just has to do with the players that are on the roster. Like,
right.
It's the window of we would like to end Chris Cole's career and KJ Bolden's career, Nate Frazier's career, Gunnar Stockton's career, Lawson Lucky's career, et cetera, with them getting a ring because those guys deserve it and these teams are good enough to do it. It would feel like a failure if they left this university without that getting accomplished. That's what feels like the window, because it's so hard to forecast what the future is going to look like for football teams because the transfer portal does exist. Things change so quickly. You can't truly anticipate how things are going to look because, as Brooks mentioned, you make one addition in the quarterback room next year and a couple more additions on top of that. Like, let's say you get another wide receiver for next season. All of a sudden, Georgia's right back in that conversation of they're one of the best teams in college football.
Certainly. And I think the window discussion for me, like, this is not a South Carolina type thing where it's like, hey, after this year, you guys are losing everything.
Right.
Or Texas, where it's like you went and you got all this talent, and this is kind of the year you've put all your chips in. Georgia's always going to have a window open. I think it's just this specific window will be closing after this season. So if you want to see Gunnar Stockton get a national championship, if you want to see Nate Frazier, Ellis Robinson, Chris Cole, KJ Bolden, all these beloved players that you've watched over the last 3 years, this is the year to do it. Not to say that 27, if you don't win it this year, you're not going to win it in 27. I think this is the year that this is the last year of this window, per se.
That's fair. Want to take a quick moment to give some shout outs to our friends over at SeatGeek. We love our friends over at SeatGeek. With over 35 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app in the world. There are more than 70,000 events listed over on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports, festivals, and much, much more. College football is almost back. The MLB playoffs are around the corner. Plus, the NFL and NBA seasons aren't too far behind. Jonathan, it would be ideal to sit in the shade side of that Georgia-Tennessee State football game.
Absolutely.
It would be ideal.
Yes.
Here's the deal. Over on SeatGeek right now, you can sit on the shade side of Sanford Stadium for $92. And guess what? I got a promo code for you. Film Guide 10 over there on SeatGeek. We'll get you 10% off, all right, over there. So head over to SeatGeek today. Use promo code Film Guide 10. Make sure you click the link in the description of this video. Download the app and have the code automatically applied to your account so you can use it later. Thank you to our friends over at SeatGeek.
I did peep someone in chat saying they used our promo code to score some tickets to the Western Kentucky game.
We love that.
White out.
We love that.
Come on, guys.
We love to see that, Lee. We love to see that. Shout out Rush Hour 2. It was a great movie. You probably aged out of you guys. You guys weren't old.
No,
enough.
I've seen them all.
I've never
I've seen
seen
all
that
three of
movie.
them. I haven't. Didn't they make?
Never seen the Rush Hour movies?
I've seen part of the first one.
They're good. They've.
You need to check them out. They hold up.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's
They
some
hold
parts
up.
of it where you're like, yeah, all right, this is 30 years ago comedy, but it's good. Did they make a fourth one? Aren't they making?
I have no idea.
I know they made 3.
Remakes are kind of the
Jackie
thing
Chan
nowadays.
still out here kicking it?
I don't know.
I mean, obviously he's alive,
I don't know
but
if he's kicking
is
it
he
in.
kicking it?
I don't think he's doing stunts like that. I mean,
Yeah.
he's like pushing.
Jonathan, he was a wild stuntman back in the day. You need to pay attention to it. That scene where he's on the rope and he walks across the water with the box on his feet.
I've seen his stunts before.
Scene,
I'm
man.
familiar
Incredible
with that
stunt.
at least.
One of the most underrated. Like start doing like kung fu movies in China.
Also got to stick around and wait for the outtakes in Rush Hour 2 specifically. And I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it's one of the best outtake scenes that there is.
Okay.
Good ad lib from Chris Tucker.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it also chops an entire scene.
Oh,
I would be pissed off if I was a producer and we kick a guy out of a window. We have all the
I've
effects
seen
for
that
it,
outro.
And we go, damn, he ain't going to be a Rush Hour 3.
Yeah, I've
Good
seen
thing you
that
didn't
before.
spoil it.
Yeah, well, he said he's seen the outro.
Okay.
I've seen the outro before.
Good stuff.
I think you guys have talked about that before in front of me. So.
No, good movies. Recommend watch Old Dogs before you watch those. Though.
Kirby, you did some research on teams that have started the season at the number 3 overall AP poll.
Yeah, so everyone
spot. What
talks
do you
about
got?
how, Ohio State got number 1. That's the voodoo spot. No one wants to be ranked number 1 in the AP poll. Well, as a Georgia fan, I was concerned. Do you want to be ranked number 3? What's the history say about being ranked number 3 in the AP poll? So I ran down the last teams to begin the season at the number 3 spot and have some data on them for you. The last year's team that was ranked at number 3 was the 2025 Ohio State Buckeyes, who I would say had a pretty successful season. They went undefeated throughout the regular season, walked through basically every opponent they had. Unfortunately, they slowed down exponentially, lost in the conference championship to Indiana, and then had a disappointing first-round exit to Miami in the college football playoff. But had a really, really strong regular season, was easily one of the best teams in college football this year. Next, we have the Oregon Ducks, another team that had an incredible regular season in 2024. Went undefeated their first year in the Big Ten, won the conference championship, looked like the best team in college football, headed into that college football playoff ranked number 1, and obviously got smoked by Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. So far there's a trend here of strong regular seasons, postseason disappointments. Then we have the 2023 Ohio State Buckeyes, another team that was this close to making the college football playoff. They were beat by the Michigan Wolverines in the rivalry week, went 11-1 in the regular season. That ultimately knocked them out of the 14 playoff. They lost to Missouri in the college football playoff. So another theme here, strong regular seasons really run out of steam in the postseason. Next, we have the 2022 Georgia Bulldogs. I think we don't need to go too far into what this team did and how much it accomplished. First 15-0 team in Georgia football history. One of the few teams, one of the last teams to do it in the college football playoff era, the 4-team era. One of the best football teams of this decade. Georgia, obviously, really, really solid spot at number 3. And then finally, we have the Clemson Tigers, who start out number 3, opened the season with the 10-3 loss to Georgia. Very disappointing for them. Lost to NC State, finished 9-3. Had a rather disappointing season based on the expectations set for them this year. And you can kind of point to this being the first year that the cracks in the foundation of Dabo Swinney's empire were shown. So my takeaway from this and all the data that I collected and seeing how these teams fared after being ranked number 3 in the preseason is, number 1, you're going to have a really strong regular season, most likely. You're probably going to make the college football playoff, or you'll come very close to it. Probably will make it if you're a 12-team playoff. And if you're the Georgia Bulldogs, my takeaway from that was the last time you were ranked number 3, you went all the way, went 15-0, won the national championship. So I don't know if that's a history thing, if you feel good about that or bad about that, but last time you were ranked number 3 in preseason, you won the national title.
It is funny.
Good omen.
It is funny to me, though, like not how much stock fans necessarily put into preseason rankings, because all of them will tell you don't mean nothing. Preseason rankings don't mean anything. But if you are the team that is ranked number 1, you put a whole lot of stock in that. You're like, whoa, we didn't ask for this. We didn't ask to be claimed as the best team heading into this season because everybody thinks the number 1 spot is cursed. But if you're 2 or 3, yeah, that's right, the sweet spot, baby. That's where
Has anyone ever
be.
gone wire to wire?
That's happened before. I can't remember off the top
Surely
of my head.
Bama did it at least once, right?
I think Bama might have done it. I don't know if wire to wire, like
Maybe the year they repeated.
Yeah, like
to be.
I would think one of those years.
in 2012.
Now, I don't know if they went like week 1.
Because they lost to Johnny Manziel that year.
But like, has a team at least started number 1 and ended number 1? Like, surely there's
sure.
fluctuation in rankings.
I think Alabama did that in 2017.
Okay. Like, I would assume that has happened before.
I don't think there's ever been an instance where you start the season number 1 and you are the national champion, never not number 1 ranked throughout. So just a little exercise I did there to see, like, what should Georgia fans expect? Is number 3 curse? Should you feel good about your ranking right now? So
Since 2000, there have only been 2 teams to do it. I'll let you guess.
Alabama's one of them.
Alabama is one of them in 2017.
LSU?
No, you're never going to get it.
Oh.
It's not USC.
Since
is it?
2000?
It is USC.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is the Trojans.
Yeah, because the dynasty of the early 2000s.
Yep. It is the Trojans.
So 2 teams.
2 teams.
Yikes. Sorry, Ohio State. That's not a good look right there.
Nope. But last time Georgia was ranked number 3, they won a Natty. So there's that.
You heard it here first. Georgia's winning the national title in 2026.
I'm not saying
You
that.
heard it here first. Unless it doesn't happen.
There you go. I like that.
We got to bring that segment back. That's
I mean,
a
we
delightful
have week
segment.
0 starts next weekend, right?
That's right.
So,
Ooh,
I
it
mean,
does.
we get it unless it doesn't happen next week.
We got ball next week.
Next weekend, yeah.
Is there any
So wait, a week from
is there
Saturday.
any games we should film study
I think
preview
so, right?
with that?
Yeah, because it's the 27th, I
No, there's
believe.
games Thursday, isn't there?
No.
No. It's all on Saturday.
Yeah, then the next week there's Thursday games. Yes.
Ha.
I don't know if there's anything we should break down per se. There's not a ton of.
You don't want to grind Virginia NC State tape?
I'm not saying we should.
Kind of just did with CJ
Bailey. That's going to come out tomorrow? We're doing that tomorrow? What do we got tomorrow?
We did CJ Bailey today, and then we also did I can't remember who the other guy that we did was today. My mind's blanking on that one.
We
right
did
now.
2 ACC guys, didn't we?
Yeah.
Huh. I'm blanked out on my mind has been so washed today. Today, I feel like today was like the start of my season from a standpoint of every 30 minutes. I felt like somebody was booking me or Jonathan or somebody for a hit. I'm gonna start handing those off to
Ashton
you guys.
Daniels.
Ashton Daniels. That's right. That'll be fun. for
Another
Florida
one
State
everybody
fans.
should go watch.
Bowden
Freshen up your
Flip Phone
memory.
Should definitely watch that one. We were on a Miami podcast, Canes Insight. Shout out to D Money and Mike Ryan. And then we went on Letterman Row with Spencer Holbrook. And then we were on Chuck and Chernoff's last show at 4:30. It's just a wash. And then we sat down to do show notes. So yeah.
I built some shelves today.
Yeah, I see that. You know what's frustrating about that? They never give you the actual stuff to put it together.
Well-
they just give you one little, what is that little L bracket looking thing? You know.
Allen wrench.
Allen wrench. They give you one of those and they're like, good luck.
Well, this one didn't come with an Allen wrench. And the thing I hate most about building furniture is, one, it's tedious, obviously. There's so many steps and so many parts. But you're either going to be missing something that they should have put in the box that they didn't, or you're going to mess up one of the steps but not realize it until you're 6 steps past that, and you got to break down some section that you just built.
Where'd you get it from?
Wayfair, I think.
Wait till you have to build one of those playground sets. Just wait.
We got a playground in the neighborhood.
Yeah,
big
that's
dog.
what I'm.
No. We got a playground in the neighborhood too, but you're gonna want one in your backyard too.
I don't know if my
I
backyard's
don't
big
think
enough
so.
for it, dude.
Sorry,
It'd take up my whole
Sorry,
space.
buddy. We'll just have to walk to the park today.
Hop on the bicycle, Charlotte. We're going down the road to the or we're better yet, we're going to Gigi and Papa's house. They have the place
guess
set. We're going to
what?
take you over there.
Because guess what? In about 5 or 6 years, they're gonna go, Dad, get that thing out of here.
Swing.
And you're gonna have to go, and they're gonna all be rusted together at this point.
It took 21 hours
Yeah,
I remember you putting that together. My goodness.
in the middle of July.
Yeah.
I'm surprised my father-in-law didn't die, or at least have a heat stroke.
Yeah,
I mean,
man.
I was struggling, and I was like 30 years old at the time. I was a little overweight, a lot of overweight at the time, but it's like, holy hell. As soon as you open the box, the first thing on the instruction list says, make sure you lay out all of the items and make sure you have the full inventory.
Oh, gosh.
Because if you miss one thing, the whole thing is ruined.
Yeah.
And I think it took us 90 minutes just to lay out all the pieces.
You're a good dad.
yeah.
man.
The most I'll be putting in my backyards for my kid is a trampoline, and maybe a hoop.
Trampoline's not easy to put together either.
They're not, but
Yeah.
they're not impossible.
A hoop in the backyard.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like anywhere in the house, like we're putting in a hoop or
Okay.
stuff like that.
I don't think our driveway is made for a basketball hoop,
Yeah, probably not.
but
Not
I
many
don't
of them
think I'm
are.
going to have any hoopers in my family. We'll see. All right. Players who have to make a name for themselves this year. I got a litany of names.
Let's hear your
Yeah, I've got like they need to make a name in the Georgia space, and then I have names that need to go national this year. I have it in 2 separate categories.
I think this one is by far a layup because I think he's going to do this. But as far as like making yourself a name in the Georgia space, because he's already a name, but Khalil Barnes, like it's important. Like as far as the success of Georgia this season, him playing at the star position for Georgia this season, and for Georgia fans to remember him well. Like if he has that type of season where even though it's just one season, Georgia fans will remember, like, man, Khalil Barnes, we loved that guy. So sad that we only got him for 1 year.
Which of my lists do you want first? Names that need to become national household names, or names that just need to make a name for themselves in the Georgia space?
I like the national household one.
All right. Juan Gaston. By year's end, I think people are going to be talking about him as one of the best offensive linemen in the sport.
Yeah, I don't know if I relayed this after SEC Media Days, but I just want everybody to know you could not vote for Juan Gaston for offensive line preseason honors, I believe. I don't think he was an option, despite him starting for the majority of the year last year.
And here's my thing. What do you do to be put on the national media presence outside of some NFL aggregate account just post your highlights all the time, or Cole Kubelik post a couple of your pancakes? Like, what is the casual fan or the ESPN or any of these national media pundits going to do to circle and say, you know what? The right tackle for the Georgia Bulldogs is incredible. Like, outside of just playing multiple years and come your draft cycle, everyone's high on you. That's how you become a national name outside of doing something freakish. I agree. Like, I think Juan Gaston is absolutely deserving.
I about said something I shouldn't say.
But I agree. Like,
Then move on.
Yeah.
Give me the next name.
Chris Cole.
Yeah.
Yep.
Chris Cole. I think he's already on that threshold. I think we got to break through that glass ceiling and become a household name. DeMello Jones.
Yes.
I think Ellis is already in this category because he was a 5-star. He's the number 1 player on ESPN's rankings coming out of high school. Played really well last year. I think DeMello Jones is going to be a name by the end of the year. Everyone's like, oh my God, Georgia's got 2 great corners out there. I felt like Xavier Brown was this last year at Alabama, and then Dejon Lee kind of entered that chat as like this guy's good. I think the same thing needs to happen for Georgia this year at the corner spot. And my last one on the national names list is obviously Elias Williams. Like, when we went through that, and I'm not like an avid believer that fantasy football rankings are something you need to really pay attention to, but the idea that a national analyst who I respect a ton out there at Yahoo is not listing Elias Williams as one of the best 27 tight ends in the sport, they're wrong. This guy's going to be that this year.
No Elijah Griffin? You think he's already there?
I think he will be there, but he needs to get there.
Yeah.
I was going to leave some meat on the bone for you guys.
Oh, yeah. Well, then Elijah Griffin.
That's my list. Now, Georgia names, okay? If Talon Taylor and C.J. Wiley don't hit.
Yeah, you're going to have some problems.
I wouldn't even say problems. I would just be like, man, there's a lot of resources being poured into those 2 football players.
Missed on resources.
Yeah, like the Craig Dandridge hit is going to curve whatever, lack of explosive ability that we get if Talon doesn't hit. But and buying insurance in the form of Isaiah Canyon was important this year too.
Certainly.
But man, they fought off a lot of dudes for those 2 football players, and they got to be good this year. This year they got to be good. And
it would be just such a kick in the face for Georgia fans specifically, because one thing that they continued to ask, even while Georgia was winning national titles, is, man, we just need to recruit some dudes at the wide receiver position. We don't ever put together a class where we just got some dudes there. And Talon Taylor and C.J. Wiley were considered that. When those 2 were brought in by James Coley and the staff, it was like, man, we finally got one of the best recruiting classes at the wide receiver position that we have had in 5 years or however long it had been. And if that one didn't pan out, it would just be such a letdown because you got so excited and you felt relieved when it happened. That, it would suck.
Definitely agree with that. My list of names, and I've kind of got a mix of national as Georgia. I think Joseph Jonah Jr. needs to have a year where it's like, all right, we finally figured it all out. We showed a lot of flashes freshman year. Unfortunately, it was cut short due to injury. Sophomore year was a little bit more up and down. I think this has to be a year, especially knowing what's coming next year. He's got to kind of cement himself into a role and cement himself as a player for this. I think Joseph Jonah Jr., JJA, is a really big name that has to, in the Georgia space, doesn't have to become a national household name. I'm not expecting that from him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he at least needs to be a player. What's up?
I'm just trying to figure out what in the hell is going on in our Discord chat right now. I look up, and it's nothing but AI images of you guys taking a stick to the chat. I just don't feel
it started because people said I was fending off the chat constantly.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how I got roped into it, but
by the way, your memes last night,
they were phenomenal.
Those are gonna hit like nobody's business during the year.
Yeah, our Discord is definitely
so
elite.
memeable.
They're elite.
All right, sorry, go back.
No, yeah, going back to JJA, it doesn't need to be, like you said, doesn't need to become like a household name by any means, but he certainly needs to be one of these players where he gets, I don't know, we'll call it 15 snaps a game.
Yeah, solid.
Like 15 snaps a game, that's what we'll call it. And that's not me saying that's how many he's going to get this year or how many he's limited to, whatever, just throwing out a number.
Right.
For those 15 snaps, it needs to be some of the most electrifying tape that you've seen because he's fresh. He's coming in just for a couple of snaps to give Gabe Harris a breather or whoever it is. It should feel electric, and it should feel like a difference maker.
It's got to be so good that someone on the state or in the stadium goes, why is he only getting 15 snaps? I need to see more of that.
Like,
guy.
I remember people feeling that way about Gabe Harris. Like, when Mykel Williams was still on the roster, like, I can remember the Texas game, the first Texas game when they went out to Austin, and people were like, this Gabe Harris dude needs to play some more. And it's like, well, who are you going to take off the field? Because Chaz Chambliss and Mykel Williams are playing some really good football right now, and Gabe Harris is talented, but they need those two guys on the field. That's what Gabe Harris was, is that dude just plays with his hair on fire. He's making plays. He plays hard as hell. That's what JJA needs to be this year.
Yeah. Another name I have in the local sense or the Georgia sense that I feel like will ultimately become a national name is Sokovia White-Helton. Because everyone's going to be looking at him like, oh, this is the Zachariah Branch replacement. This is who they're replacing Zachariah Branch with. You're going to hear that every time he catches a football this season. If Sokovia White-Helton can become a name within the Georgia wide receiver room, I think that it's going to make him somewhat of a national name, so it's a little bit of both. But he is someone who has to step up for you this year. You need someone inside the slot that's going to be a threat in man-to-man situations. You need someone who, I don't think he's necessarily a take-the-top-off type guy, but who can be a threat downfield as well. I think Sokovia White-Helton has to make a name for himself this year.
He's certainly shown inklings already that he is a slippery wide receiver that is going to get yak. He's not probably going to get it at the rate that Zachariah Branch did, but who does? Like, who does get it at that high of a rate? I'm not sure if you really ever see anything like you did with Zachariah Branch last season as far as an immediate impact and what he was able to do with the ball in his hands. The amount of, like, how easy it was to get him the ball and for him to create explosive plays by throwing it behind the line of scrimmage, like, that's such an anomaly in my opinion. So I don't know if Zacoby's going to be exactly that, but I do think he is going to be one of these players that, hey, we give it to him at 4 yards and he's going to pick up 10 or he's going to pick up 8. Like, just, he can make the first guy miss pretty consistently, and that's going to be a big factor.
I'm going to break some news right here. Not that I'm intending to be a newsbreaker, but this is good news. A lot of prayers being sent out to this young man. I was told before the show Dante Dael is back around the football team and back going through day-to-day routines of being a student and being back to life.
Some normalcy.
I'm
very glad to hear that.
As obviously, I don't think we need to be talking about whether or not he's going to play or anything like that. But he's up, moving around, and is back around the football program. So that is good news, and some prayers answered there because that was scary. Which is why the Dowdle was going to be the 3, right?
For
2, and then 1A and 1B and then 2. I think that answer is now going to be Bo Walker.
Yep, I have him on mine.
We've talked about this quite a bit. Bo Walker's entered, okay, we got to play this guy territory. And we're going to have to manufacture touches for this kid. He's had such a good camp and such a good offseason. So Bo Walker is a name that will be a household name by year's end.
Bo Walker just screams to me, like, especially heading into this season where there is always a football, at least for our Discord, our community, like, as much time as I spent around them over the years, especially throughout a football season, he just screams the player of, he may not be the most impactful player. He may not be the guy that everybody is talking about after every single game on Saturday, but he just feels like the type of guy that everybody's going to fall in love with. Like, nobody has any issue with Bo Walker getting 8 touches on Saturday because it's just going to be consistent. He's going to pick up positive yards. He's going to do his job, and it may not be the most glamorous thing in the world, but you know exactly what you're getting from him, and those are the type of players that fans love.
I think Bo Walker, and we know that there's going to, like, who's going to be the third and short back, who's going to be the third and long back coming out of the backfield in the passing game. Bo Walker will be the death march running back. When it's the fourth quarter, Georgia's up by 2 scores, and there's 8 minutes left on the clock, and they just spam a running back. Like this, they did this with Dejon Edwards for while he was there.
Absolutely.
They're going to do this with Bo Walker, where it's like, you know what? Let's just take us home, Bo. We're going to give you 5 straight carries. You're going to get 45 yards on it. We're going to melt the clock. That is what Bo Walker's role is going to be. on top of being running back 3 now. Maybe he'll be the short game running back. Maybe he'll be the out of the backfield running back. I think that's still being decided within the coaching staff, but I know for a fact he's going to be the death march running back. The other guy I have on this list is Justin Williams. I think it's time for Justin Williams to really start emerging as his own player here, and understandably so. You had Raylan Wilson and C.J. Allen in the inside linebacker room on the back end last year. He made some great plays, had some great flashes. I think it's time for him to kind of become all right, this is the future of the linebacker room for the next 2 years. We know probably Chris Cole is going to be heading off. We know Raylan Wilson's in his last season. Justin Williams has to showcase to people like, hey, yeah, we're losing these two, but y'all saw what 19 did this year. He's going to be great in 2027. He's eligible for the draft. He could go to the draft. I think he's probably in a position to stay this year or next year.
5-star coming out of high school, him and Chris Cole both.
For sure. So I think he's probably in a position to stay for 27. With that said, it's time to make a name for yourself.
That's right. He's looked good all fall camp. You got some more?
I got one more. And this one I think kind of is proxy because of your season was cut so incredibly short last year. Everyone's talking about Elias Williams. Everyone's talking about we've got Lawson Lucky coming back. Everyone's talking about Caden Prothro, even though he's going to be in the slot. I think Ethan Barbour needs to kind of make his own name here and etch out kind of a role for him right now, because I think that he is a extremely talented tight end. He has not had the opportunity to showcase that talent because we broke our ankle in the second game of the season and we got put in against Ole Miss sparingly and didn't make a ton of impact plays. So it's time for Ethan Barbour in his second season and where he'll be seeing, his third and fourth games in a Georgia uniform. It's time to make a name for yourself. I know it's kind of speeding up your clock, but I definitely feel that way.
All right, I know we had another segment tonight that we're going to push to tomorrow, hopefully, because I got a plethora of Florida Gator stuff to talk about here in our Florida preview.
Bring it on.
We've been doing this. We've been going through all the SEC opponents and previewing these before the season even starts. Obviously, as the games get closer and approach, we will be breaking these things down ad nauseum, but we feel like we'll give a general synopsis of these football teams prior to the season starts. This Florida preview actually comes with a ton of quotes from sources on their entire roster. These being Georgia sources being probed about Florida by me. All right, so this is going to be some good stuff right about here. I think it's going to be Philo at the quarterback position.
Yeah.
It's been a lot closer than they originally, not intended, but expected when they got down there. I think a lot of that is because Tramel's talented, but I think also Tramel Jones kind of had the pulse of the football team and they retained a lot of this football team. It's not like Auburn. It's not like Arkansas. It's not like some of these other first-year football coaches where they bring 15 of their guys over. There's 2 football players from Tulane, and they're special teamers. Like, everybody else is kind of intact.
So the closest of this battle has been more about how great Tramel Jones is and not as much of Philo's not quite what we thought we were getting.
I mean, they knew what they were going to get in Philo because
Right.
the OC came down with them. So,
Right.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's oh, my God, this Tramel guy's a lot better than we scouted ourselves now that we're around him on a day-to-day basis. I know that Georgia's extremely high on the wide receiver core, and here's some quotes that I got about these players. Eric Singleton, quote, can score at any moment, get the ball in his hands, and it's like,
Yeah.
Dallas Wilson is an NFL X that's an absolute problem.
Absolutely.
This is me talking now. If he's healthy, like we got to remain healthy for an entire season. I think that's an important thing. Vernell Brown, quote, a route runner with elite speed. Those are 3 problems right there at the wide receiver position. Jaden Ball obviously is great. Here's my favorite quote of the night. Quote, toughness wears people out. That dude in the fourth quarter, you just don't want to tackle him. You just don't want to tackle him at all. He's just going to wear you out. The carries 19 through 24 are going to be absolute wear you out type of intensity and toughness from that guy. They don't think they're very elite up front, but they are massive.
Yeah.
They have 2 6'8" tackles. They're huge.
They're always huge up front.
And I was going to say, that kind of feels like the sentiment that it was under the Billy Napier era, where the talent outside and the perimeter was really, really good, and the O-line was like, they're really big, but they're also really slow.
Yeah, they do. Georgia is very aware of this left guard. His name is Knijeah. Nijah?
Sure.
Nijah Harris.
The left guard.
Yeah, the left guard, road grader. Love that. Road grader was the quote I got out of that one. Tight end room's okay. Okay. That's, I wouldn't say great. That's the Harping kid and the Jackson kid. The Jackson kid is from the state of Georgia. I think they both are. I think one of them played at Marist and the other one played in South Georgia somewhere. One of them's kind of built like Lawson. The other one's built like a high school wide receiver that's learning how to play tight end. So we'll see about that. The quotes I got about Philo make me think that they think they can get him off the spot and make him create. And if that's the case, he's liable to turn the ball over. They think he puts the ball at risk when they studied him, which I would attest to. I think Philo hasn't had the opportunity to know what he can't do yet.
Yeah, I was saying,
he's still figuring those things out.
How much do you study? You've got 3 starts and a couple of backup roles in a spring game to study. Like, there's not a ton of data there.
But to me, and we're going to get to this in the questions at the end, the biggest question for Florida for me in this matchup and in all their matchups against premier competition is, can your offensive line be serviceable enough to actually take advantage of what I think is one of the best skill groups, maybe in the conference?
It's certainly up
Like,
there.
who's got backs and receivers like these guys?
Not many teams. No.
Like, they got 3 NFL football players playing wide receiver and an NFL back.
I mean, we saw when they were healthy, when their wide receiver room was healthy last year, what they did to Texas.
And when
they terrified them. Dallas Wilson ran all over, or was routing them up and putting up numbers.
And when their quarterback is playing competent football.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, that's the other thing. All right, let's flip over to the defensive side of football. How about this quote? War daddy. He's a war daddy.
What position are they describing?
When Georgia talks war daddies, they're talking about defensive tackles.
Okay.
He a war daddy.
Okay.
They're talking about Brendan Bett right there.
Big and powerful and
Big,
violent.
powerful, tough to move, can wreck games. He a war daddy. Most of those are interior defensive linemen. Haven't heard the comp of a war daddy for a defensive end yet. But if anybody's got them, they got them. Their defensive ends, apart from Jaden Wood, they're all like 6'5 plus, 290 pounds plus. Like, they are huge humans, first off the bus type dudes. Jaden Woods, quote, has a chance to be one of the best outside linebackers in the conference. 6'3", 245, 250, twitched up, can get home. I think he had almost 10 sacks last year at Florida. Good football player, good pass rusher. I think both corners are really, really traitsy, but they have not played very good football at this point. Maybe Summerall can get that out of them. They're gifted. Both of them can turn and run. Both of them can go. They're lengthy. Just got to get them to play better football. Linebackers Graham and Robinson are solid as they come. Don't think either one is elite. These are my words now. I don't think either one of those linebackers is like high-end, first-round draft pick type guys, but both of them are very high-quality, high-end SEC starters.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of the sentiment that we've had for Florida's defense kind of for a long time of like, it's not a fantastic defense. It's not a great defense, but it's a good SEC defense that can cause many issues for you and can give you a ton of problems.
Yeah.
And I think Georgia saw that last year. Like, Georgia moved the ball with relative ease at certain points, but there are also moments where they were getting stonewalled, and Gunner had an interception off of a tip pass. So, I mean, like, they can absolutely cause issues for you. I don't think it's something where you come into the game going like, boy, it'll be a miracle if we score 30 today.
Yeah, they've always been able to be disruptive up front. Like the defensive linemen that they've had over the last few years, they've always been good enough to hold your run game and be disruptive in the passing game. But it's also haven't been exactly good enough in the cornerback department. Secondary has been a little questionable, and they've been solid, like you said, at linebacker, but they haven't had one of those elite linebackers over the years.
And on top of that, I mean,
6 was, I forget his name.
Shamar James,
but he hurt his knee.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, but he was a damn good football
he
player.
wasn't the same after that knee injury.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I feel like this has kind of been a major point for Florida, especially over the last 3 years, but really this winning streak that they've gone on. They fall apart in the second half. Like, they had a lead last year, and I would say last year was probably their best second half performance that they've had in a long time, but Georgia kind of worked them in the fourth quarter. Then you go back to 2024, it was a close game at half, and Georgia won the second half. 2023 was a slow start, and then Georgia just kept working them down. I think the biggest improvement that this Florida team and this roster is going to need is that they need to be able to play 4 quarters against Georgia, because if they can, they're going to create a lot of issues for Georgia.
They're going to have the depth up front defensive line-wise. Cameron James and LJ McCray didn't even get mentioned so far.
Yeah.
Those are two high-end defensive ends that got to stay healthy, both of them. And then they got to transfer over from Jacksonville State. That's a freakazoid as well. So we'll see about that. My biggest question is, like I mentioned, can the offensive line be serviceable enough to actually take advantage of all these skill guys that they have, because they're loaded down. I also think that having Buster Faulkner as the offensive coordinator helps alleviate a lot of those problems that we expect to have offensive line-wise. And how much strong, like every guy that I talk to about, every coach that I talk to about Florida's offensive line, like, hey, what do you think about so-and-so? Or like, well, he's big, but people run through his face in pass protection. Oh, he's good in the run game, but his anchor's a little suspect in the pass department.
Right.
Oh, anchor. Well, what was the number one thing Summerall talked about when he got there?
Strength
We
and
are
conditioning.
weak as shit.
Yeah.
We are a weak football team. I'm stronger than some of our offensive line, and now that is not the case. They have spent an entire offseason grinding these dudes out from a weightlifting standpoint.
Get that turf field out of my weight
Hey,
room.
get that turf field up out of here. That thing's sorry as hell. If you're holding on to that one patch of hair, just shave it, man. Like, whoa, coach. Speak for yourself, Mr. Full-headed haired man.
Yeah, dude.
Let me hold on to mine as long as I want. If I don't want to come home, I don't got to come home. All right, let me stay where I'm at.
Yeah.
Let's address some super chubs right quick, because we forgot to do this during the national hour. Joseph NR_plays said, he said last year that Josh Heupel was 10 years in and still adding, and to think about that in your day-to-day life. I'm doing that, and I'm going to switch my careers after 15 years with the company. Wow, Joseph.
Congrats.
That is I love betting on yourself, man. If you're going to bet on anybody, bet on you. You know what I mean? And I learned this in my professional career. The first time I actually fully bet on myself, I found an entire new work ethic. I've always felt like I work hard, but the moment I was like, nah, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do this. Buddy, when you jump up off that ledge, them wings starting to flap, and you're going to start working hard. So not that you didn't. Congratulations on your bet on yourself right there, Joseph. Hope it pans out for you. I'm sure it will. Noah Morris says I got to use promo code film, got 10 to get tickets to the Western Kentucky game to see the Whites in a whiteout. Will y'all be there? Would love a pick or signatures. You guys will be.
Yeah.
We will be there. So
you guys will be there.
we'll try and find
Hopefully
you.
I'm in Austin, Texas. Or maybe Ann Arbor.
Either way, it'd be exciting.
Either way.
I'm excited to see the white jerseys, man.
I am
I'm
too.
looking forward to it.
I'm really intrigued by that.
Bowden's flip phone says, okay, you're going to make, these are Bowden's words. These are not my words. Okay, so we all agree Miami is toxic. Mario is terrible. And they have no fans that actually attend the school. Thanks. That's all. Appreciate you, Bowden. Appreciate you for making me read that one. Controlled Chaos Moto says, I miss how the Tide has hopes and dreams on the Natty. I think he's saying he misses the day and age where that was kind of the
Well, you
standard.
put a question mark.
Yeah, that's what tossed me at the end of that. Shout out to all the Super Chubs. Appreciate y'all for that.
I've got a question.
Have you guys ever signed an autograph?
No.
Have you
Not-
practiced your signature?
not
No.
for
You need to
this.
start. You need to
Guys,
start.
Look, I know you love the show and everything. Please don't make me sign something of yours.
Why not?
I don't want to diminish someone's hat. I don't want to diminish someone's
I feel
shirt.
very weird
Yeah.
if I sign
If you got a piece of paper, all right, I'll sign that for
I'll-
you. But please don't make me sign some clothing and diminish that
It also,
for you.
I don't feel important enough to sign things.
Yeah, the first time somebody asked me to, I looked at him and was like, you're trolling. You're not. You're just going to laugh when you walk away. It's like, you actually did it.
Like, let's grab a picture. Let's have a handshake and we'll converse a little bit. Like, please don't make me sign something of yours.
Agreed.
My friend is getting married during the debut of the White House. Good on them.
Hey,
It'll be far more memorable than the Western Kentucky win. I can promise you that.
like, look, Roman, they at least somewhat planned for you and were like, it's Western Kentucky.
Yeah.
It's not their fault that just happened to be the whiteout game. I'm sorry, but hey, the jerseys will look just as good in the highlights and the replay as it did it live on television.
Agreed.
Yeah, we're not one of these channels that's like, screw your friends for making you go to a wedding on a game day.
Doesn't mean it doesn't suck. Doesn't mean you know. It's,
Doesn't mean you're not sitting in the pews watching it on your phone.
That's
you know
my
what
whole
I mean?
thing.
Like you got
is
the opportunity to do that.
If you are that person that plans a wedding on a college ball Saturday, it's also hard to be mad at people that want to watch a football game while they're at the wedding, in my opinion. Like, that's just some give and take. That's all I would ask for. It's like, hey, I kind of want to watch the game. Still going to be here for you, but There's something important going on
I
right
also
now.
appreciate the olive branch of like, hey, listen, we tried to schedule it on this day, or we scheduled it on a bye week. It's not like we scheduled it on Georgia Alabama week.
I'll sign your Zen cans. Throw them at me. No, don't throw them at me.
I might
just hand them
sign
to me. I'll
some
sign
Film
them.
Guy Network merch. That's a little
Also,
more in line.
No, I'm not Terrell Owens. I don't have a Sharpie in my sock, okay?
Yeah.
So if you want me to sign something, make sure you bring something for me to sign with, because I'm not that guy that's like, oh, honey, don't let me forget my Sharpie. Somebody might ask me for an autograph today. Bless
Yeah,
you. Gesundheit. Gesundheit.
All right, thank you. I'm done. I have one final question before we head out.
Come out.
Is it going to be hard to now? Obviously, you have plenty of games in between that time, but right now, I feel like it's hard to scout this Florida offense because we know what Buster Faulkner runs, and we have some data on Aaron Philo. We haven't really seen Buster Faulkner run a system with Aaron Philo in this much talent. Like what he was running with Haynes King, I would say, is a far cry from what you're going to see at Florida.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
No, it's 100% fair. I think to be honest with you, I think they were in a position where they had to play Haynes, and Haynes is a good football player. Don't get me wrong. But I do think there were some people in that building that was like, this Philo thing's going to work.
Yeah.
This Philo thing's kind of cool. This Philo guy can run the full offense. He can like really, really throw the football. Kind of important playing quarterback. But no, they did such a good job of morphing that into Haynes' skill sets. Also changed his mechanics a little bit. It's still a little funky, but it wasn't reach your hand in the cookie jar like we used to teach baseball players. I mean, that thing was rough to watch at Texas A&M, brother. That thing was rough. But it looks a lot better now. So they did a lot of development there with him, and he was obviously the keynote leader on that football team. But it'll look totally different at Florida. Great question. Hey, great show tonight. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button. Make sure you're coming back tomorrow for a little. We're gonna go Ashton Daniels tomorrow. We're gonna go Miami and then FSU back-to-back days. Make sure you're showing up for those film studies. Make sure you're showing up for the live tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Make sure you're hitting the thumbs up button on the way out right here today. I love you. Most importantly, Jesus loves you. We'll see you next time.